And we are back again. Let's see who is with us. Let's see who is with us. And our speaker is here right on time. Thank you so much. And Sister Jeremy and Angel and Obi as well. Oh, Oh, okay. Our moderators are live, so I'm just going to yield the mic to you two so you can get on with it. I think Sister Obi is moderator moderating first. Okay, so I'm
Yes,
just going
I
to,
am.
okay,
Thank
the
you,
rest of us are going to.
everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining again this evening. That's if you've joined in the morning, where we welcome you. I'm very positive that for those of us who attended the morning session, we realized how powerful and how awesome it was, how informative it was, and how so engaging it was. It was full of information, full of necessary information, and we're actually looking forward to actually a much more interesting session this evening. And I'll get right onto it. Um, with our speaker, who's graciously very prompt. I'll just do that by reading through her bio. So our first speaker for this evening is Pastor Olu Olabode. She's a beloved daughter of Abba Father. She's a woman of various expressions. She's a certified Maxwell speaker, a trainer, life and book coach, and a pastor's wife who co-pastors with her husband in BC, Canada. She's a mom of four great nations and a kingdompreneur. Pastor Olu Olabode is the CEO of Unleash and Thrive Coaching Limited, Purposeful Faith Apparel, and a Purpose Midwife. She stirs up and helps Christian women, pastors' wives, and other women in ministry leadership to unleash themselves from limitations, to discover, to thrive confidently in their originality, purpose, and calling, and maximize their potential. Pastor Oluolabode's mandate is to help them unleash the greatness within them, live intentional lives of impact, and stand out in their spheres of influence as God intended. She also comes alongside people at the Push Authors Academy to birth the books in them and create products from them. She's a published author of 16 books, most of which are on Amazon. So I'll implore you to check on Amazon after this. She is set on helping at least 10,000 women by the year 2031. So, can we all please give a positive Diaspora Parenting Conference welcome to the Purpose Midwife, Pastor Olu Olabode? You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Good evening, good evening, good evening from my end. Good evening at your end. Good morning at my end. Thank you, Abisa, for having me here. I am
Thank you
so
so much, ma. Thank you. I'm excited. I'm excited to have you. Thank you, ma.
I am
I'm really
delighted to be
excited.
here. I am so delighted to be here. Thank you, moderator. I think about an hour ago, I was like, I forgot that UK changed time. So I was like, first, and I'm like, I can't find the link to join. Where's the link? I'm like, I don't want to be late. So I'm so glad I know. So I was there waiting, ready, and I thought, oh, I have an hour to wait. Okay. That is actually, that's even better. So good evening, good morning, whatever time difference, we are thank God this is a positive intentional diaspora parenting conference. So what that means is that we are like in different time zones. We are allowed to be in different time zones. So those of us in diaspora and those of you that are back home, you are in a different time zone. So what we're saying is that we have people from all over the world. So I want to welcome you. I was watching the first session earlier. I watched it. I was excited because I didn't watch the second session, but I watched the first session, which was by my coach. So I was excited. And I was listening. I said, oh, I think he took some of my notes because it's either that or we're sitting together, because some of the things that he was sharing, I was like, okay, do I even still need to show up tonight? But I know God has a way of, just aligning every speaker, to say what God has put on their heart. And I know that the convener, of this conference must have has had taken time, to seek God and really just get what was needed, for this conference. So I'm so grateful to be here once again. Thank you so so much for having me. So how are you doing? So before I start my session, I'm looking for someone in the comment section to tell me some of the things that you learned earlier. I'm a teacher, not by profession, but I'm a teacher of the word, and I always tell people that I teach, I mentor. I tell people sometimes we just get so much, we get fed so much, and sometimes people forget to apply what they're learning. So beyond just coming here today, I was sharing the link for this for the conference with some of my audience, and I was saying that you know a lot of time people are praying for things, they're praying for what they need, but sometimes the difference is simply the knowledge. Sometimes God is just saying, if you just get it, get the knowledge that you need, then you can apply it. So some of us have gotten some knowledge earlier today. So I want somebody to give me one nugget, at least one. I want to see at least one nugget that you got today from the session that you attended. What is one nugget that you got that you are not going to forget, that you are actually going to, oh, see, before I even finish, somebody has already put it there, that you are going to apply. I learned earlier that if I must lead, I must lead with experience and by example. I know. I was listening to that as well. I so agree with you. I was listening. I'd heard my coach, Dr. Sam, teach about that, way back. But him just sharing about it in today's session earlier really reminded me of it. The four portals of discipleship is so powerful, so powerful. Thank you for sharing, Angel. And why I asked that is because I want us to not. In fact, some of the things that I'm going to share are things that you know. And so I want our hearts to be open to receive. I want us to just say, you know what, God, whatever I need to hear tonight, let me hear it. It doesn't matter if I've heard it before, because I always say, but it's not really what you know, but it's what you apply, like I said earlier. So I'm looking for what I can apply, what you want me to apply to my life. Oh, thank you. Abisona said, parenting is leadership. Yes, it is. Social media for the children now is their digital playground. Thank you, Adesua. That is powerful. Our kids want to spend time with us, and they really do. And sometimes parents say, kids are just playing. Oh, they're just bothering me. All they simply want is, mommy, can you just give me 10 minutes of your time? Really, that's all they want. So the way they find they can get your attention is just by bothering you, so that way you're like, okay, let me drop everything and just attend to them. So thank you for sharing. I wanted to make sure that you're actually here and that you got something from the previous, the previous sessions. And as those have really spoken to you, I pray that it won't just be information that we hear, but it will sit in our hearts and we begin to think, how can we bring this to our children? How can we use this to make a difference? Because as I began to prepare for this, that was the biggest thing on my heart. God is not just going to share information, but just like our sisters, somebody said, yeah, social media is, Adesua said, social media is for our children is now the digital playground. We have to think as parents, this child has come into my life, how can I make a difference in this child's life? What difference am I going to make? Like, after this child leaves my life and they go into the bigger world, is there going to be an evidence that they've actually been in my life? So thank you, everyone. I'm going to start off with a word of prayer. I just have to do that, and then we'll jump into our session tonight. Heavenly Father, we just want to thank you. Once again, I just want to thank you for this session that I'm going to be bringing. Like I always say, you know what we need to hear beyond the slides that I have, beyond what I prepared. As parents here, we're looking to hear what you have for us to use in our everyday lives. We're looking to hear practical tips. We're looking to hear what you have on your heart for us. And so, Lord, I just ask that you would just speak to our hearts. Just as we're individuals, speak to our heart individually. Let us catch what we need for this season, for this time that we live in, what we need to apply to our lives. Let us catch it. Let us build on what we've received earlier today. Holy Spirit, just have your way as I speak tonight in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, please, when I have 15 minutes left, thank you. I see my slides. Thank you so much. When I have 15 minutes left, please let me know because I have the tendency of going on and on. Thank you so much. So, oh, I love that. You see, that's what I said. It's like I was here this morning, even though I was sleeping because of the time difference. I'm 8 hours behind the UK. I live in BC, Canada. I'm 8 hours behind the UK. I'm 9 hours behind Nigeria. So when the session was actually going on, I was sleeping. But guess what? It's like we are together here. Parenting is intentional. Yes, it has to be. The element of intentionality is utmostly required. Okay, let's jump into our slides. So the what Abisona has given me to do tonight is to share 7 strategies to raise positive change agents. And I always tell people, I say whenever I think of, for me, parenting is a big, I don't know how to put it, but parenting is a calling. I almost would say, and parenting, I find, is a big responsibility that we don't even, by ourselves. It's easy for us to get frazzled by how do I do it? How do I handle it? This is a lot. I remember in 2020, my word for that year was intentional. And I remember one of the areas that God began to lead me to be very intentional about was parenting. He began to open my eyes and he began to share some things with me, asking me questions like, do you know your children? I have 4 of them. Do you know each one of them? Have you studied them? So, and I began to ask a lot of questions, and that took me on a quest of, and I said, God, at that time, I'd been a parent for like 17 years. I'm like, God, I've been a parent for 17 years. But what he was saying to me was like, parenting, number one, is a journey. Parenting cannot be done, by yourself. So that's one of the things I want to hone on today. It's a journey. And on a journey, guess what? They're different. It's almost like when you're on a journey, you need a lot of parts to bring it all together. You need a lot of on a journey, you meet different people that help you along your journey. And I find that is how parenting now. You have the teachers in the school. You have for those of us that are, because in diaspora, we don't have a lot of community per se. But for example, where a lot of us originally come from, we have the community. So when I say parenting is a journey, it means that there's a lot of people that God has called you to help you even in this journey. And the number one person is God Almighty. And I'm going to go more into that. Let me not jump ahead of myself. So let's look at 7 strategies to raise positive change agents. I have 2 verses that really sit on my heart when I think of parenting. And the first one is Psalm 127, verses 1 to 5. I'm going to read it super quickly, as fast as I can. If you have it, you can read it at your end. I'm going to read it from the TPT version. It says, if God's grace doesn't help the builders, they will labor in vain to build a house. If God's mercy doesn't protect the city, all the sentries will circle it in vain. It really is senseless to work so hard from early morning till late at night, toiling. And I'm going to put an emphasis on toiling. Parenting, if we're not careful, can become a toil. To making a living for fear of not having enough, God can provide for his devoted lovers even while they sleep. Verse 3 says, children are God's love gifts. They are heaven's generous reward. Children born to a young couple will one day rise to protect and provide for their parents. Happy will be the couple who has many of them. A household full of children will not bring shame on your name, but victory where you face your enemies, for your offspring will have influence and honor to prevail on your behalf. Okay, so that is what it says there. And so that kind of starts me off. Can I have my next slide, please? So I want us to ask ourselves a question. We're talking about strategies to raise positive change agents. The question is, are you a positive change agent? And I'm asking myself too, am I a positive change agent? I want to raise positive change agents, but hello, I cannot really raise positive change agents until I myself become a positive change agent. Because really, we cannot give what we don't have. So somebody is saying, oh, yes, I want to, often you hear that quote. I remember growing up, do as I do, don't do as I say. You will see somebody telling you to do something, but they're living a different lifestyle and they want you to do what they are saying, not what you see them doing. Coming back to that those portals of discipleship, observation. So we're thinking, I want, oh, no, don't do as I say, just do what I do. It's not possible when you're raising positive change agents. Remember this. So if we really want to raise positive change agents, we are going to have to be a positive change agent ourselves. And like I said, a lot of things I'm going to share here, they are simple things that you already know. But I want us to just pause and say, I know these things, but the question is, am I practicing these things? Because really, I always tell my children, knowing and doing are not the same thing. You can know, people know, like in the world today, there's a lot of information, but are people doing everything they know? No. So really, knowing is not the ultimate. Applying it to your life, doing it is the ultimate. So we cannot give what we do not have. So I hope somebody is going to get from this. So let's go to number one strategy so I can move fast. Is you and I must be an authentic role model worthy of emulation. We must what? Be. There's a scripture, there's a verse in scripture that says that, and Jesus began to do and to teach. That scripture, every time I read it, always gives me the goosebumps. Jesus began to, he was, and then before he taught it. He began to do, and then he taught it. So before we start to go ahead and say, oh, I want to raise a positive role model, I want to do this for my children. Hello, are you one that they can emulate? Are you an authentic role model? Which means, are you vulnerable? Are you open? Can our children see you as one that is authentic enough that they want to emulate what we're doing? They want to emulate our lifestyle. They want to emulate, the things that we are bringing, the things that we are teaching them. Can they see it in your life? Can they see it in my life? Or am I just saying it? Like I mentioned earlier, am I just saying it, or can they actually see it? And I'm going to read another verse that really does emphasize this. It's Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 6. It says this. It says, God was giving them commandments here. And it was saying this, verse 4, saying, hear, O Israel, Deuteronomy 6, verse 4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one. The Lord our God is one. Lord, the only Lord. You might say, oh, but why is she talking about, she's bringing scriptures when we're talking about parenting? Hello. We are going to learn. There's a which I'm going to go to. There is a manual. There was an instruction manual that God has given to you and I. So if we want to raise this positive change agents, can we look in the manual? I believe that's one thing that God was leading us here. He said, hear, O Israel, the Lord your God is the Lord, the only Lord. You shall love the Lord your God with all your mind and heart, and with your entire being, and with all your might. And this words which I'm commanding you this day shall be first. I'm reading the AMP. It says, shall be first, verse 5, shall be first in your own minds and hearts. Then, so a lot of people go ahead and they jump, oh, I want to teach my children. Is it in your heart first? The things you're asking your children to do, the way you want to shape them, is it in your life first? If it's not in your life, hello, it's harder for us to teach what we don't do ourselves. He says, and this was which I'm commanding you this day shall be first in your own minds and hearts. Then, Deuteronomy 6, 4-6, then you shall whet and sharpen them so as to make them penetrate, and teach and impress them diligently upon the minds and hearts of your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. So what he's saying is that until you and I have it in our hearts, until you and I become the authentic role model, until we are doing, let us not even attempt to teach. Let us not even attempt to teach. So what are you doing? What are the habits that you are doing as a person that your children might catch? I remember something happened a couple of years ago. There was this mentor of mine that I still listen to her a lot, but then I used to listen to her a lot. I used to listen to her all the time. I'm in the kitchen, I have her going on my iPad. I'm in the bathroom, everywhere I am, I'm listening to her. She used to talk about, or she talks about, living out the dreams God has put on your heart, getting a vision for your life, and all of that. So I used to listen to her a lot. But at the time, my son was quite young. I think at the time when I'm talking, he was about maybe 13, 14 years. But I didn't realize that he was listening to me. But one day I remembered he began to play, because I used to play it in the house, play it in the car, her CDs and everything. I saw him on the TV. He began to play her messages, and he would listen to her, and he would listen. And after a while, guess what? He started to get her books, and he would watch her messages more than I was even watching. And that, I remember, that really spoke volumes to me. And I said to myself, imagine if I had been doing the wrong thing. This is the same way he would have taken that thing and begin to do the same thing exactly. Can you imagine? And that, I remember at that time, that really spoke to my heart, that God help us as parents, the things that we pass on to our children, because really more is caught than taught. More, they catch more of what we do. They catch more of what we do. So if we are telling them to do, are we living it? Whatever you and I want to see in the life of children, and over the years, that has really sat in my heart. God help me to be an authentic role model. God help me to show you in my life. So when my children, they are seeing you in my life. They are not seeing me teach it. They're not hearing me say it, but they are seeing me live it out. Because when they see me live it out, they will see me, not that I'm one person at church, I'm a different person at home. No. Or I'm one person in society, I'm a different person in my house. It has to align. Who I am has to be who I am. Let me run along so that I don't stay long on this point. Okay. Number 2, remember to use your manual. Every product has a manual. So do our children too. So every product you buy in the market has a manual. It would always come with an instruction manual. If you buy a car, there's an instruction manual. If you buy a house, I believe the gadgets in the house, like the how would I put it? The equipment in the house have manuals. The fridge will often have its own manual. The dishwasher will have a manual. The microwave will have its own manual. The same way, when God created you and I, guess what? He gave us a manual to teach our children. I just read part of the manual to you. He gave us a manual. That manual is called the Word of God. I believe. I always tell people, because the Bible says children are his love gifts to us. And I say children are the heritage of the Lord. So what means that they belong to him? You and I are stewarding them. They actually belong to him. He's giving them to us to steward. And now we are going to be able, just as gives them to us to steward, we are going to give an account of what he gave to us. How are we stewarding them? And the only way we can steward them the best way is one of the ways we can steward them in an awesome way is by using the manual he gave us. I read some of the things in Deuteronomy 6. So we'll start from verse 4 to 8. Another part of the manual, talks about us train up a child in the way that he should go. And when he is old, he will not depart from it. Proverbs 22:6. We quote this verse so much. But guess what? Part of training, to train means something. When I went to look at that word train, to train means to teach a person or animal a particular skill or type of behavior through practice and instruction over a period of time. So whenever we see that word train, it's saying, hello, I have given these children to you. And I believe that's a big strategy. It's almost like saying, I've released this child to you. What are you going to do with him? Imagine if a young person, maybe you have a teenager that says, okay, I want to follow you around for the next 1 week. And I want to learn from you. What are they going to see in your life? What are they going to see in my life? Are we going to be able to model? And that's exactly what we're doing even with our children. Is saying, if my life gets to speak to you for a week, what are they going to discover? What are they going to discover? So my next slide talks about to train. So to train also means to point or aim something, typically a gun at a camera or something. If you notice, my very first slide has it's almost like it's almost like you're shooting, you're aiming. Another version of the Bible in Psalm 127 will talk about children are arrows in the hand of the hunter. So what are we doing? We are to aim them so that they hit targets. We are to aim them so that they hit targets when they eventually leave our nest. But the way we train them will determine if they would hit targets or not. So when we think of the word train, we must think we're to teach them, but also we're to show them, we're to model them. We are to model them with our lives. What does modeling? Modeling really connotes you just showing them. Modeling connotes them catching what you're showing them. Modeling connotes them, you don't have to say a word, but they pick up on a lot of the things that you do because they are observing. They are just picking it up. They're soaking it. Because children are what? They're sponges. So they soak up. So, and I find in the diaspora, it's harder because a lot of time, we don't have, like I said earlier, we don't have that community. But I found that even with the word of God, we can trust him to show us, to open our eyes to strategies, just like we're learning today, to open our eyes to ways in which we can bring this training. Somebody might say, oh, but just like somebody asked the question, I remember in the previous session, that, oh, I work a lot, I don't have the time to stay at home with my child. And I remember that someone was saying that, find ways, or maybe pray for a job that can help you to, be able to spend time with them. And I also remember that years ago, one of my mentors said something that really spoke to me. She said to a group of us that were listening to her, she said, whenever you think of family and work, think of it this way: quality of time, and she said, quality of time at home, quantity of time at work. Quality of time. So when you are in the home, the quality of time is important. It might be 2 hours you have with that child, but what you are doing in that 2 hours it matters. The quality of time at home is key. At work, you have quantity of time. Don't forget about the quality, but at home, you should be focused on what am I going to do with this short time that I have? What am I going to do with the time that I have? How can I, pour into it? You might not have a big amount of time. You might be a 9 to 5 mom. You might even be not even a 9 to 5 now. You might be maybe, for example, you might be a nurse that works 12 hours, long shift. You might be a doctor. You might work in a profession whereby you don't have the time per se. But I found God has a way. God sees our heart, and he helps us individually to shape what he commits into our hands to do. If he sees a heart, if you see that you really want to model to your child, you really want to, in the little time you have per time, you can always still model. That's what I have found. Number 3 is remember to rely on your intentional parent and your helper. I love this so much because, like I mentioned in 2020, when I was, when God laid this on my heart about parenting, I'm like, God, I've been parenting for 17 years. But I began to see that there were some things that I did not know that I had to learn. Which was that parenting is a journey, is a continuous learning journey. We are constantly learning. We're going to keep on learning about, we're continuing learning, the continuous journey of learning. And I remember that verse 127, that one that I read at the very beginning, if God's grace doesn't help the builders. And so I learned that I can do all I know to do in the natural, but sorry, I'm going to bring the spiritual into this. Spiritually, I must be the person that is there, relying on my intentional, because God is an intentional parent. If you notice the way he parents you, when you err, there's a way he draws you. He will discipline you, but he will draw you closer. And I found out that there are so many things that we can learn from the way God parents us, the way he parents us, the way he draws our hearts closer to him, the way he speaks to us gently, gracefully. And I always thought, can we extend the same grace to our children? Thank you for helping me putting it in the chat. Can we extend the same grace to our children? Can we extend the grace God puts upon you? So I find that I began to learn from God. How does God parent me? How does God take him? When I go to God, even when I make mistakes, when I fail, how does he help me? How does he parent me? Now I can take that same model into my own family and begin to say, God, the same way you extend grace to me, even when my children are not perfect, because I'm not perfect, I can also extend grace to them. Even when they mess up, I can still draw them, scold them, discipline them, but draw them closer to my heart. I can rely on him helping me, even in the little things. Like that person said, I'm not at home all the time, but I can rely on him showing me ways that are peculiar to you, that would work in your own individual family. Because thinking, my mom is not in diaspora with me, my dad is not in diaspora with me, I don't have my aunties like I would have back home, I don't have a house help, but guess what? I have the Almighty. And another person I have is called the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is always on hand. I tell people, I'm going to read a scripture to us from John chapter 14 verse 26, and I'm reading the scriptures for a reason, because I just believe that there are some things that we don't leverage on, that God has given us, even especially, okay, thank you, 10 minutes alert, hallelujah, thank you, that we don't leverage on. John 14:26, that we need to leverage on, but we don't. We have them, but we don't leverage on them. And AMPC, John 17:26 says something. It says, but the comforter, counselor, helper, intercessor, advocate, strengthener, stand by the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, in my place to represent me and act on my behalf. He will teach you all things. So are you a mom here? You are thinking, I don't know how to do this. I don't even know how to parent. This parenting in diaspora is so hard. Parenting in diaspora is so difficult. Guess what? You have a helper. called the Holy Spirit. And guess what he does? He helps you. He is your strengthener. He is your standby. A standby is like a bodyguard. They are always on hand to help you with that difficult child, to help you with that child that you don't even know, that introverted child that seems like, how do I handle it? If I begin to share with you, I have 4 children, and the 4 of them are different. And I have found that when I rely on the Holy Spirit, I found he begins to lead me regarding the different children. Sometimes there are things that he will say to me, don't talk now. Pause. Now is not the time to to scold. Now is the time to pause. There are some that you cannot you cannot relate with all your children the same way. But I found the Holy Spirit is someone that we can rely on to help us to discern even something that we want to bring across to our children. He knows when they need to hear it and when we need to zip it as parents. Because sometimes as parents we need to just you don't need to say anything. You just need to zip it. So I found that if we can rely on God as an intentional parent, and we can rely on the helper that Jesus has given us, to help us. Yes, and I just found and I find that sometimes when I when I want to pass judgment on the children, God says to me, "But I didn't do that to you. Why are you doing this to the children?" And then you catch yourself. Let me run now. My time is almost gone. Number 4 is intentionally cultivate an environment where they can become positive change agents. The environment that you're living in, your home, is it an environment that you cultivate? Is it you can see that plant I put in that picture? Is it a nurturing environment? Is it a growth environment? Are you as you grow as a person, number 1, are you growing as a person? Because you need to be growing as a person. But then as you grow as a person, are you allowing your children, are you helping your children grow as people? Are you helping them grow spiritually? Are you helping them grow academically? Are you helping them grow emotionally? Are you helping them grow mentally? Are you helping them grow in various areas of their life? Are you helping? That is one of our jobs as parents, to cultivate. Because what I find that, can we cultivate that environment whereby they can thrive, they can be nurtured? Look at that plant. That plant is growing, that plant is thriving, that plant is growing. Because guess what? What we consistently behold, we progressively become. What you and I consistently behold, if you cultivate that environment, guess what happens? Is that you are creating a place whereby they can grow. What happens when you go into an area where you only have rich people living there? You find, and there are areas that you find that you begin to dream bigger and think, wow, this is so beautiful. Look at the houses in this area. They are so beautiful. Oh, I really wish I can live here. Oh, this is so nice. This is so beautiful. That is the same way when, if you have a home whereby your children can talk to you about anything and everything, you cultivate an environment whereby even when they mess up, they can say, "Mommy, I went through this today. Mommy, I don't, I really wanted to make, I really wanted to, I could have done better on that test, but I did." And they know that you will not judge them for what they've told you. Are we cultivating that environment? Number 5 is continually study and get to know them. Continually study and get to know them. Continually study and get to know them. I remember that in that 2020, one of the things that God asked me is, you guys go to school, you study how to be a doctor, how to be a nurse. Somebody will go for 5-year course, 4-year course, 6-year course. How many times have you sat down and tried to study your children? I remember in 2020, he will ask me, do you know their strengths? Do you know their weaknesses? Do you know what makes them laugh? Do you know what makes them cry? Do you know what upsets them? Do you know? He began to ask me. I'm like, Lord, like, seriously, why am I sharing this with you? One of the ways that we raise positive change agents is we know about them. If you don't know them, if you don't get to know them, if you don't, and it's a continuous study, I find you must, and that comes to that place of observation. This ties in well with the 4 portals of discipleship. We must constantly study them. God began to me, and sometimes I just sit down and I just watch them, and when my children behave, I'm like, wow, wow, this is so interesting. We must constantly study them. We must talk to them, find out what they like, find out what they don't like, find out, and I find the more we study them, the more we get to know them, the more God will show us how to parent them. Like, remember what I said? You have an introverted child, you have an extroverted child, you have them all mixed. You have one of them is melancholic, the other one is sanguine, the other one, they're all different. But the Holy Spirit knows how to parent each one, and He will show us as we sit there in the place of studying each of our children. I just find that it's so important. Number 6, I want to share. I think we're 2 slides away. Number 6. So if I go to thank you, we must be intentional about being present in the present. We spoke about earlier on the social media being the digital playground. I find it's not just children, even for parents, it can be a digital playground. So now when we are doing something, my son will say to Mommy, you're on your phone. Mommy, you're on your phone. And when I try to talk to you, you're on your phone. What is that telling you? Mommy, you are not present in my presence. Why did I put it like this? Because I believe that as in especially in these times that we live in, even in diaspora, we must be present in the things that they're doing. We must be present in their life. We must be present when we sit there. Remember that thing? Quality of time at home, quantity of time at work. So when we are there with them, we must be present in their present. We must, which means find out the things that are going on part time. We must never find out things outside. We must part time. We must find out what's going on. What's going on in Nigeria. I want to be the first one to know. I want to be the first one to find out. I want you to be able to talk to me because I'm here to listen. So when we sit there, we say, okay, let's have a talk, let's have a chat, let's go out, let's be present in. I find that's one of the ways. And how the children often define love, time. I find they often define it by time, spending time with them. Don't beat yourself up with I don't have as much time. The little time you have, how are you using it? The little time you have, is it counting for much? That little time, can you utilize it to the best of your ability so that you can be the best parent for your own children and not any other children? And number 7, I want to share, which is the last strategy, is once you have played, number 7, once you have played your parts, let God take over. Number 7, that's my last. You know what? The Bible says that our children will be taught of the Lord, and great will be the peace of our children. But when you look at it from the Message version, it says it's so beautifully. It says something so beautifully from the Message version, which I love, and that's why I say let God take over, because remember, it's a lifetime. But once you have played your part of training, now sometimes we need to hands off and say, God, I've played my part. You are able to do even more than what I've done. As I round this up, you are able to do more than what I've done. Let me share. I just want to read that Isaiah 54 as I share this. Isaiah 54 and verse 13. Message version says, let me see. All your children will have God for their teacher. What a mentor for your children. God, he said, mentor for your children. You'll be built solid, grounded in righteousness, far from trouble, nothing to fear. Far from terror, it won't even come close. So our thing is, now we've trained them, let's hand them over and say, God, take over. That they will have you as their teacher, they would have you as a mentor. Imagine if you have God as a mentor, it means that he doesn't need to beat you up on the head. There's a way that he would gently do it, that even you as the parent, you're like, this child is aligning, is so now you have, when you and I have played our part, let's hand them over to the one that gave them to us, the one that told us to steward them, the one that gave them to us as a love gift, and watch him take over and do what he wants to do in their lives. Because I find sometimes we get in the way and we don't let him train them the way he wants to train them. And my last slide says, parenting. Never forget that parenting. Okay, this was the verse I just read. Never forget that parenting is a partnership between you and God. Don't be tempted to do it alone. So either you are in diaspora, you're back home, wherever you are, it's a partnership. He gave them to you as a love gift. There's going to be a time where he's going to ask from you and I, what did you do with the gift I gave to you? So now, remember, whenever I even have issues, I feel lost, I can go back to that person that gave the gifts to me and say, I'm lost. I don't know what to do. I can rely on that person. That is the last tip that I want to leave with you. And I pray that for every one of us, God will help us. We will not we will not feel condemned by maybe us not having time, but God will help us to raise our children the best way, because we are the best parents for our children, and God will help us to raise them in the way of the Lord. Help us to raise them the way he designed for us to raise them, in Jesus' name. Amen. There I rest my case.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Thank you. Am I free to go on, Coach Abies?
Yes, you're fine. I just want to
Oh,
quickly appreciate her. Thank
yes.
you,
Thank
thank you, thank
you.
you so much, ma. The alignment, the synergy is just amazing. I said God is really one. Absolutely amazing. Thank you, ma. I'll yield the mic to you, Stalvey.
All right. Thank you so very much once again. That was I was just writing, at the point where I didn't see the slide, and I was like, okay, next slide, please. Let's see, let's catch up on what's good. Thank you so very much. And just like Coach Abia said, the points here is just interesting how the points you've raised kind of like aligned into what we learned this morning as well, and we can see how it correlates. Yeah, I'm actually looking at the seven strategies right in front of me, and yeah, and by God's help, we'll be able to kind of like take that out and apply them. Like you said, it's a different thing to learn, and it's a different thing to apply. So
Yeah.
we'll just want to find out if anyone asks any questions, so we can actually, while we have Pastor Labodi here, she can quickly attend to our questions. Yeah, I don't know if it's a question or if it's a more of a comment, but in terms of cultivating the environment, um, as we're aware, not just in diaspora, all over the world, family structure
Hmm.
differs in terms of life happening. So
Yeah.
sometimes we don't have a situation where the father, the mother, and the kids are together, where you have single parenting,
Hmm.
and then it's a bit difficult to navigate, playing both father and mother to the children or child, as the case may be. um how then do you marry that? Because while as much as you're trying to be the best version for yourself, like you said, you can be you can be an example. If you are not yourself, we call that in law nemo that quote on our bet, you can't give what you don't have.
Yeah.
So in terms of how can one person be both father and mother, create that environment, to also help. I understand the place of God, but I'm not displacing the place of God, but then coming to the practicality of it.
Okay.
How does that work? You understand? Because there's a
Mhm.
different, there are times you're down, there are times you're angry, there are times you're emotional, there are times you wish things are different. And I don't know if I can say this is a bit personal, and there are times I just take it out. I lash out.
Yeah, we all do.
So how do so how do you marry that?
Okay, so thanks for that question. I would say I will almost still go back to one of my things. I think because sometimes as parents as well, we have this thing in our heads that I have to be perfect. And don't let the children see that I'm not perfect. I believe that there's a role that vulnerability plays in the life of parenting. There is a place of, even for single moms, I find that a lot of single, like children that grew up in single mom home, I've heard them say because moms they saw their moms actually just, they saw the vulnerability of their moms, they were better people for it. So I would say number one is be yourself. There are days that you don't have it all together. It's okay. You are human. Maybe the children will know that. So when they grow up, they will not feel like I have to be a perfect human being. I believe that vulnerability is part of it. Let them see you, that you mess up. It's okay. And then you let them, they also see you, and then they see how how you relate with other people, how you relate with God. But I also believe in the place of mentor. So, for example, if it's a single mom, getting mentors. So, if there's a male role model that can be a blessing to your son or your daughter, someone that can play a role model, maybe an uncle, a brother, someone that can that can play that part, you can inculcate them into your schedule whereby they can, maybe from time to time spend time with those children and pour into them. So I believe mentors are so key, because we find a lot of, I found people that will say, oh, it was my teacher in high school that really made me, turn out like this. It was this person in my, so I remember I was reading something, someone said it was my Sunday school teacher. He wouldn't give up on me. So I believe that in place of studying them and also knowing people in their lives, we can find out people that are, how would I put it, people that can speak into their lives, so that they can. And remember, I said it's a journey whereby we have people helping us along the way. So let's identify mentors. Let's identify role models that our children can also look up to, that can help us on this journey. So they're coming alongside us. They're helping us to ensure that, because the most important thing is the well-being of this child. This child turning out as the best version of themselves. So as you are on your journey, let them know that it's okay to be vulnerable. Let them know that you're also on your own journey, but you don't want to thrive alone. You want to take them along with you. So do it together, but also get role models involved as well. That's what that would be something that dropped in my heart as you were asking that question.
Thank you so very much. I'm sure you noticed I was just typing away as you were talking. Thank you very much. Do we have any other question from anyone or any of the moderators? Um, bef-
Question. I think
all right.
the purpose midwife has trashed this so very well. So very well. And the way it aligned with the other speakers in the morning is just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Especially when they've not spoken to one another. And yet the message just align. You see, body
I
just
know.
align and
I
everything.
was, I had sent you my slides, and then I thought, let me
Yeah,
go and watch the previous one. When I woke up this morning, I'm like, wow, okay, is it? Did we sit down to compare notes? But that's what God does. He just has
yeah.
his ways.
Thank you so much, Ma. A lot of people have been, sending their appreciation. Really do appreciate your time because I know you had an event today or you're having it
Yes.
later. I know. Everybody that has come to speak here today, they've made one sacrifice or the other. And I really say, thank you. My heart bless you. And I pray God continue to bless and honor you. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you
It's
for
lovely. Thank
having
you
me.
so much.
Thank you.
Okay, ma. Bye, ma.
Bye.
Okay, so what stood out for you? Oh, that question came in a little bit late. Don't worry, don't worry. Another fantastic speaker is coming on. So the purpose midwife, she's got a busy schedule today. How can we correct our kids in love that it will look as if one is nagging after a busy shift? Sometimes it's not always we have to just correct. If you know that you are tired, you will not be able to pass the message without you sounding very, very irritated. I think sometimes you just let it slide for you to deal with later, to be honest. Let it slide as at then for you to be in the right frame of mind, and your child also will probably have reflected, hopefully, on what he or she has done. I would say when you are too tired, don't react. Because when you react, you're not reacting because of what he or she has done. You're reacting because you are also tired. So all the transferred aggression is just going to be too much, and that might lead to overreaction. So I would say sometimes let it slide and have that conversation when you are calm and when they thought you had forgotten about it, then know that you're absolutely dealing with whatever the issue was and not you transferring aggression of the tiredness to that child. I hope that helps. I will yield the mic to you now, Angel, and I will be good.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't know, you know why I'm smiling so much? Because oh, thank you so much for the speaker that just left. I really appreciate you, ma'am. Before I continue, it was a blessing. I took a lot of notes and corrections. So it is time for me to introduce the second speaker. So you know why I'm smiling. My mommy in Israel, my mentor, aka Mrs. Love Adesua Akashuku Okoronkwo. She's a child of God, married to the most amazing man. She works hand in hand with her husband in their journey in life, and together they are trusted by God with two beautiful children. Adesua is an ordained minister in the Redeemed Christian Church of God, where she served in different capacity, ministering, calling, teaching, encouraging, and counseling across different areas of life, but most passionate about marriage, relationship, and building godly home. She is in business inclined in the area of international recruitment, an accredited international recruitment consultant by the British Council with expert in student recruitment and visa processing, a social worker by training. She finds fulfillment in supporting missionaries, sponsoring a child through school, supporting rural evangelism, delivering skills empowerment program tailored towards orphan youths and women facing life challenges. Our biggest assignment is to please God, make heaven, and take as many people as possible with her by the grace of God. I'll be one of them. Please let's make welcome Mrs. Adesua Akashuku Okoronko, aka Mrs. Love, aka my big sister, my blood sister, my mommy in Israel. It's an honor, ma.
Thank you very, very much. That hyping is too much. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much
Thank
for
you.
your patience. I'm so sorry we
Mhm.
ran a little bit over. So sorry about that. Thank you so,
That's
so
fine.
much.
Yeah.
Bless.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think we'll just take it away. I'm very, very glad that I was invited and I'm part of the planning committee for this conference. It is indeed a very rewarding conference. Positive Intentional Diaspora Parenting Conference is massive. I've been blessed by all the speakers that spoke this morning and even this evening. This is really, really amazing. And my task this evening is very simple. I'll be talking about safeguarding training and child protection awareness in the diaspora. Child protection awareness in the diaspora. I will encourage if you can get a pen and paper to just take notes. And when we finish, we'll be able to deal with questions. And thank you very much, Abia Student, for taking these topic to be part of the very issues that need to be dealt with here. Like you know, we're talking about parenting in diaspora. So we're talking about parents that have left their original country of where they have expertise, where they know everything, and they've moved to another place to stay or to live, so they are not considered parents in diaspora. So when we're talking about safeguarding, this has been a very uh, consigning feed, as in at the moment, a lot of parents are struggling through this. So it is a welcome topic. So what is safeguarding? I will go straight on. Safeguarding is the action that is taken to promote, the welfare of a child and protect them from harm. So this is an action that will be taken by the authorities. And when I mean authority, it means that it is more than one authority. So safeguarding means protecting children from abuse and maltreatment. It means preventing harm to children's health or development, ensuring that children grow up with the provision of safe and effective care, taking action to enable all children and young people to have the best possible outcome. So that is safeguarding in a nutshell. So, and one will say, okay, safeguarding, child protection, what is the difference? Okay, safeguarding is the bigger um, space. So, child protection is part of the safeguarding process. Okay, so safeguarding now is the action. So the child protection now is part of it, is a process of safeguarding process. So it focusing on protecting individual children identified as suffering or likely to suffer significant harm. So when a safeguarding process is triggered, it's okay, there is a reason for you to believe that this child might be in danger, that this child might be going through mistreat, that this child might, something is going on. Then child protection now is part of that process that goes on, depends on the finding. Okay. So now moving forward, this include child protection procedure, which detail how to respond to concern about a child, how to respond concern about a child. So child protection system in England might a bit differ from the system in place in Scotland, in Northern Ireland, or in Wales. But the Department of Education is responsible for child protection in England. So they set out policy, legislation, and statutory guidance on how the child protection system work. Okay. So when you look at that, you can see that it's not like, oh, this person does not like my face or anything, and they just decide to trouble me. No, this is something that is expected by those in authority. Okay. Now, before I'll go on to observation that might indicate that a child is at risk, I'll quickly
look at the legislation in well, probably more. Legislation is, provide the framework for safeguarding and child protection in England. It makes clear the expectation and requirements around duties of care to children and create accountability for these. So the main legislation in England is the Children Act 1989, the Children Act 2004, the Educational Act 2002, and the Children and Social Worker Act 2017, and working together to safeguard with children guidelines. So when you put all these acts together, they all work in conjunction together for us to form this process. Okay? So who is responsible for safeguarding and child protection? I would say safeguarding and child protection is everyone's business. Safeguarding is everyone's business, but there are a certain authority responsible for this. So the local safeguarding partners are responsible for child protection policy. So for every area, for every council, for every locality, we have the local safeguarding partners are responsible for child protection policy, procedure, guidance at a local level. The local safeguarding arrangements are led by the three statutory safeguarding partners. Okay. Now, the three statutory safeguarding partners are the local authority, the Integrated Care Board, that's ICB, previously Clinical Commissioner Group CCG, but they are not called ICB now, and the police. So the local authority is the social worker and all that, the investigating team and all the others, but with the Integrated Care Board and the police. So those are the three leading partners that take a charge of safeguarding. Now, working together with other relevant agency, they must coordinate and ensure the effectiveness of work to protect and promote the welfare of children, including making arrangements to identify and support children at risk of harm. So I really wanted to explain that so that you will not be scared when you start hearing these names being called. It's good for us to get understanding and information, understanding how this work. So moving forward, I'm going to quickly dive into abuse. Now, what is abuse? What is abuse? What is child abuse? Now we've talked about safeguarding, we've talked about child protection and the legislation. How does this impact us as parents? Okay, so when we look at this, child abuse is when abuse simply means causing harm or distress. But when you talk about child abuse and neglect, what is the difference? Child abuse is when a child is intentionally harmed by an adult or another child. It can be over a period of time, but can be a one-off action. It can be physical, it can be sexual, it can be emotional, and it can happen in person or online. It can also be lack of love, care, and attention, which can be seen as neglect. So you can see that now, that neglect is a type of abuse. So when you are being pulled out in class and the teacher of your child is saying, well, they can sense some form of neglect, looking at your child appearance, looking at the way they are, behavior and things like they just look at them, they're not wearing the right clothing, they're not probably wearing the right footwear, or their hair is out of order and things like that. And they feel that they are sensing neglect. It means eventually that can be escalated to abuse because neglect is a type of abuse. So neglect can be a lot of different things, which can make it very hard to spot. But broadly speaking, there are 4 types of neglect. We have the physical neglect, And that basically means when a child basic needs such as food, clothing, or shelter are not met, they are not currently, properly supervised or kept safe. This is a form of neglect. Then, when you look at the educational neglect, we are looking at a parent that doesn't ensure that their child is given an education, withdrawing your child from school, not going to school regularly, going late to school, picking them up late. So you can begin to see why things like this can trigger an investigation because it is under neglect. Now we have what we call emotional neglect. A child doesn't get the nurture and stimulation that they need. This could be ignoring, humiliating, intimidating, or isolating them. Now you can see why most parents in diaspora can get into trouble because they feel that they are trying to look after their children, going to work, being at work for a long hour and leaving your children by themselves. And in excuses that, oh, I'm trying to get money to look after them. But you cannot leave a child that is below 16 unsupervised at home in England. That can trigger a safeguarding because it means that you are living and you are neglecting that child. So what if the child wants to open or wants to talk to you? That is another way that we can look at this. Now we move to the fourth type of neglect. I've talked about the physical neglect, the educational neglect, the emotional neglect. Now I'm talking about the medical neglect. A child isn't given proper health care. Your child has been coughing and coughing and coughing, and the teacher can see, and this child is not getting the attention that they should be given. The child nose has been running continuously all through the season. Yes, it is cold. But are there other things that you can just see that this child is just deteriorating when they fail to get the necessary appointment, whether the GP surgery is difficult for you to get the appointment or not, that can be seen as neglect. And another one that parents in diaspora fall victim of is dental care. Dental care and refusing or ignoring medical recommendation. Yeah, it is necessary. It falls in under good parenting for your child to go for dental care once in 6 months. So twice a year. You are to schedule whether they have any dental problem or not. Also with their optician for them to get their eyes checked every 6 months. You're meant to make this appointment for them to go for it. It is part of your responsibility as a parent in England. So we should think about that as well. In other countries, it might vary, but here in England, where I am based, that is what it is supposed to be. So ignorance is not an excuse. Now, moving forward, we are going to look at physical abuse. So now you can see that I've talked about neglect as a type of abuse. Now I'm moving forward to physical abuse. Now, when you look at the physical abuse, this abuse is when someone hurts or harm a child or a young person on purpose. And this can include eating with hands, objects, slapping, punching, kicking, shaking, throwing, poisoning, burning, scalding, biting, scratching, and breaking bones, drowning. Okay? When we look at this, I know with where we came from, we can say, okay, is a form of discipline for you to spank a child and all that. Well, they've not said yet categorically that spanking is illegal or you can't do that. But when you begin to hit a child with the force that you leave, marks and all that on that child body, it can be tagged as abuse. And yet today we're going to be discussing other ways in which we can discipline children without going that far. So with all these type of abuse I'm talking about, remember those in authorities like the school, like the police, and even the social workers and the GP. These are the people that, mostly the school will say, okay, the teachers and the GP that you are exposed to, they are trained to spot these, and they have indicators that they are looking at for. So when you feel that, they are questioning you or asking you questions, it's not that they are profiling you. No, it's because they've seen one or two indicator that suggests that something is going on with this child. So when we look at, the indicator for physical abuse, you can see things like fear of adults. The child is very fearful. You can see sometimes the child can be aggressive, or you can see that the child is withdrawn or reluctant to change clothes when they want to do PE or things like that, wearing clothing that are inappropriate for the weather to hide injuries. So when your child begins to present one or two or three of these indicators, they will be questioned. That's why a teacher will ask to speak to parents to see a child that comes into school with their summer uniform rather than their winter uniform. When they should be wearing their tie, they're wearing socks, they are not properly wearing a jacket, and they're cold, or their skin is very dried, or their hair is so rough. A lot of things they will look at for, and they'll begin to ask questions. And that, if you don't cooperate and you don't answer this question, you feel uncomfortable, then you can escalate it to something bigger. So it is very important that when you fall into this category, or when things like this happen, please, 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 please don't aggravate issues. Try your best to cooperate and ask for clarification. Any wordings or anything that is being said that you don't understand, in the most appropriate manner. Okay? Now, we're going to move on to other form of abuse. We have the emotional abuse. And the signs of emotional abuse, I'll just quickly say, if I have the indicator for that. But yes, emotional abuse is any type of abuse that involves the continual emotional mistreat of a child. Sometimes it's called psychological abuse. Emotional abuse can involve deliberately trying to scare, humiliate, or isolate or ignore a child. Okay, and the indicator for this is that difficulties in forming relationship. You see children being isolated, they don't want to play with other children. Then you can see displaying of self-harm tendencies, or lack of emotional attachment, or exhibiting extremes in behavior. So this is another form of abuse that can happen. And I know where we come from, whether in any part of the world that we came from, example, let me say Africa, we might not see this as anything, but these are things that they can be a big deal here. Now we have another type called the sexual abuse. Okay, the sexual abuse is exploitation, what they call CSE, child sexual exploitation, is a type of sexual abuse. When a child or a young person is exploited, they are given things like gifts, drugs, money, status, and affection. And children can easily fall into this when your child is being starved, is facing emotional abuse, that they don't have anyone to talk to. You're never around, and they find solace with someone else that can show them this attention. It might even be someone in your house. It might be someone outside. You never can tell. So in exchange for performing sexual activities, they're giving this gift. Children and young people are often tricked into believing they are in a loving and consensual relationship. This is called grooming. They may trust the abuser and not understand that they are being abused. We should be very careful as parents in diaspora where we take our children to for childcare. Who is looking after your child? Where they are going to? When your child begin to talk about what uncle or what auntie and they are not comfortable with somebody, please don't shut them up. Try and listen because something might be going on that you are not aware of. We should try and listen. We've heard about a lot of that today. I'm not going to go there. Listen to our children. So what could bring about concerns and how can it be averted? So now I mentioned all those abuse, but I haven't said that there are other abuses, type of abuse that go on. But for the sake of time, I will mention them. I won't go into much. We have the online abuse, we have bullying and cyberbullying, we have criminal gang exploitation, we have the female genital mutilation, in which some people still take their children, female child, outside the country to get FGM. These are all classified as a type of abuse. Type of abuse. Now, like I have said, we have the list is much, but what could bring about concerns and how can it be averted? For parents in the diaspora, most of you are worried, most of you are concerned, most of you feel uncomfortable and you feel as if you are targeted. No, you are not. There are little things that you can look into and then all these can be averted. You don't need to be a victim of these investigations. And one is leaving children at home unsupervised. Please don't leave your children at home unsupervised, because here in the England, leaving a child at home that is less than 16 years old is not legal. So you can leave them at home for a few hours, like a child that, let me say, 13, 14, yeah, few hours, but you can't leave them overnight by themselves. It is illegal. And you cannot make your 15, 14, 16-year-old to look after the younger ones for a longer period of time. Again, it is not acceptable. So these are the things we should be aware of. Yeah, between 12 and 16, they can stay at home for a reasonable time. And if they can ascertain danger, if there's going to be an issue there, would they be able to manage that emergency? Those are the factors that you should consider. The Lord did not say it categorically and say, okay, this is the amount of time you can leave them by themselves. Now, another concerns that you can think about is that taking children to school late constantly. Please don't take your children to school late constantly. This can trigger a safeguarding investigation because they want to find out what is going on at home. Why is this child coming to school late? The third one is excessive picking children late from school. Again, just your child left continuously. They want to find out what is going on at home. Continuous absence from school. When you keep taking a child out to school, this can trigger concern in which the school it is under regulation. They are mandated to report things like that. And not cooperating with relevant authorities can be another big problem. So what is your responsibility? What is our responsibility as parents in the diaspora? You are considered a caregiver. You are considered to be the parent. You are considered to be the guardian. Then it is your responsibility to provide a safe environment, ensuring a safe and nurturing environment for your children, free from harm and or neglect. Meeting children basic need for food, shelter, clothing, and healthcare. Recognizing sign of abuse and neglect. Be vigilant. Recognizing signs of abuse, neglect in your child or other children within the community. It is our responsibility. We are to have open communication with our children, encouraging open communication with children, fostering trust, and providing support when needed. We help our children open up to us and come to us with things that they are not comfortable with. So we are to collaborate with the authorities if there is any need for such investigation. Cooperate with them. Please don't pick up a fight. Cooperate with them, ask questions, and seek counsel. Okay. Now, I'm going to just quickly talk about ways. What are ways in which we can actually, you know, bring in effective parenting without, spanking the children and all the normal ways that we normally do it uh back home or where we are coming from. There are ways, and I believe most of the speaker that came before me, they spoke about this. And I'm just talking about other ways parents can communicate with children without corporal punishment. And I've got quite a couple here, and I'll quickly run through them. Okay. And we have the positive reinforcement. And this is when you are able to acknowledge and praise your child with encouragement. You praise them with the aim of encouraging them for what they have done. Acknowledge and reward good behavior with positive affirmatives. By the time you do this, the child feel empowered. That is very, very good, rather than doing all the other. These are ways that can help, some of the ways. And another one is setting clear expectation. It is very important that we set clear expectation for our children here, because when you set clear expectation for them, then you are able to establish rules. Set clear expectation, age appropriate rules and expectation, ensuring child understand what behavior is expected of them. If they don't know the behavior that is expected of them, then anything goes. You wonder how the teacher cope in school, because there is set expectations, and every child know exactly what they are doing, even those in the nursery. That is the way that it is not different from home as well. Then the third one here is consistent consequences. When a child has done something and there are consequences, don't let that consequences apply today. Tomorrow, oh, you're too tired to not apply. The children will see you very unserious and they won't take you serious. So apply consequences that are related to the behavior, emphasizing the cause, and affect relationship without being, punitive. So you are bringing in these consequences, but you are not bringing it in a way as if you want to punish them, but you will explain to them why this is happening, why this should be happening. So there is explanation, and that child, it will make them understand why they are having that consequences. So another thing, and one of those things is timeout. When you say a child to go to their room to have 5 minutes, you don't just say every time timeout. Why are you having the timeout? Why did you have to have that time? Why are you having that in place? These are the things that children should be aware of. Then we talked about modeling behavior. We talked about that this morning, and Dr. Ekundayo delved extensively with that. Modeling behavior, lead by example, and demonstrate the behavior you expect from the child. You cannot tell them what to do when you are not doing what you are telling them to do. So do what you want them to do. And another one here that I want to talk about is communication and explanation. Sometimes African parents, I'm guilty of that, we tend to just shout rather than communicate or talk to them and explain. Communication, discuss behavior. When a child is doing something that is not, discuss it. Why do you think you're acting like this? Open question, why? And then when you are able to get to then you deal with the root cause. Discuss behavior. Talk to the child about their behavior, explaining why certain actions are inappropriate and guiding them towards better choices. Then we have number 6, active listening. This is where most of the African parents from the diaspora struggle. Active listening. We are very good in talking, but we tend not to listen. Active listening. And this helps to validate their feelings when we listen to them. When we listen to the child's feeling and perspective, validating their emotions while guiding them towards expressing themselves, appropriately, is a way of building the self-esteem of your child. You kind of give them that confidence. You're building their confidence. Then another number 7 is time and attention. Time and attention. Quality time. We've talked about this as well. Other speakers spoke about it. Quality time. Spend quality time with the child. Engaging in activities, conversation that strengthen your bond and reinforce positive behavior. Spend time, there are things that might excite you that don't excite them. Like me, I will say, oh, I would like to watch Mount Zion moving. And that might not be the cup of tea for my children. So you should be able to meet halfway and do things with them that they enjoy as well. Now, we are talking about number 8, consistency and predictability. Consistency is to be consistent, maintain consistency in discipline method and response to ensure that consequences and expectations. I do fall victim of this sometimes. I'll tell you, if you don't do this, this is going to be the outcome. So by the time the child do that and you are meant to, and they just come, you're like, okay, once you let it slide now, they will do it again, and before you know it, you are not taken serious anymore. And another thing I want to talk about is number 9, teaching problem solving skills. When your child is facing challenges, please don't tend to solve everything for them. Teach them how they can go through it. Let them know that we all go through challenges. And at the end of the day, there is something better out there. Teach them how to solve problems. Encourage solutions. Involve the child in problem solving. Encourage them to find constructive solutions to conflicts and challenges. Are they having problem with their peer group, with their mates, with their friends? Do you just step in and start giving instructions? Don't do this, don't do that, rather than teaching them how to resolve conflicts or how to deal with that issue? You need to empower them. And another one there can be even handling failure. What if your child is, maybe you expect them to come with 8 stars and they came home with something short, and you go all everywhere, you just start shouting and screaming. Why did you have to, but your mates? No, we have to teach our children how to handle failure. Stop making them feel as if you never went through it. You teach them it is okay that you didn't get the mark you want to get now. But is there anything you want me to do? How can I help you? What do you want me? Because most time we are quick to fix it. Oh, I think you need extra lesson. I think, no. Did you speak to the child? Do you know what the child wants? Do you know how they want you to help them? I think as parents in Diaspora, we should begin to take a step back and ask and study our children by asking them how they want you to help them. And then you'll begin to get the results that will give us the desired outcome. Please let us not judge them or compare them with other children. Reinforce every other area they've done well. Don't worry, you didn't do well, but you did well in this, you did well in that, you did well in that. I'm so proud of you. Even if this is, no, it doesn't matter. The most important thing is that you did it, you enjoyed it, and that you will do better. Don't worry about it. Encourage them. Encourage them. Encourage them. And the last one here is number 10, redirecting behavior. Redirecting behavior, distraction. We call it distraction technique in social works. When you redirect behavior, you redirect younger children attention from negative behavior by offering alternative activity. When your child is so immersed with tablet, with phone, and you feel that they should be doing other things, you can't just take that device away from them. You need to devise another thing, another activity that will replace that. So that would distract that child from that. And before you know, if you are consistent doing it 7 times, that child will form another habit. So you should be able to be resourceful and research all the things you can do to engage that child, rather than just taking it and look as if it is being punitive, rather than you trying to change it to a better habit. Now, I've quickly run through that. I know my time is not our friend today, but I just want you to know, lastly, before I go, that in the UK there is no specific legal age, stipulated for when a child can be left at home alone. However, the law states that parents are responsible for ensuring that their children's safety and well-being. The decision about leaving a child at home alone depend on the maturity and ability to take care of themselves and the circumstances. The National Society of the Prevention of Cruelty for Children, NSPCC, offer guidelines struggling that children under 12 are rarely mature enough to be left alone for a long period, and those under 16 should not be left alone overnight. It is crucial for parents to assess their children's readiness, considering factors like their understanding of safety ability, handle emergencies, and how they cope with being alone before making decisions to leave them unsupervised. I just want us to know that safeguarding is everyone's business, and I believe that as children, as parents in diaspora, every child matters. So let us be watchful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I
Mm,
really do appreciate
mm.
that detailed explanation you've given to us. And I do hope parents in the house, you take this on board. I think I will just jump off now and leave um I will yield the mic to Angel to ask a few questions that popped up. Thank
Thank you very much, man. That was a very, very interesting lecture. I would say it's a lecture because I have about 5 pages here and I'm still writing. So today we're able to cover the difference between safeguarding and child protection. Today we also covered child abuse, different type of abuse, physical, emotional, sexual, and neglect. Then today I also learned that neglect have different type. We have the physical neglect, educational, emotional, and medical. And it is very important that we take notes and make corrections when necessary as a parent. We know you are doing your best, but it's good for moving forward. It's good for you to do better. There is no excuse. Like she said, safeguarding is everybody's business. You don't say, this is not my child, I don't care, but we have to pay attention because the society is also trusting us to raise these kids to come up and do something better. Thank you very much, man. And if you have any question, please let me know. I saw a question from,
you. Check
uh,
your check your message. There's a question there. There's a question sent directly to you, Angel.
oh, okay. Is it on my phone? No, I saw Rakul or something, somebody that sent a
I'll just
message.
quickly read it. Yeah, I'll
Okay,
quickly read it.
please.
Our
Okay.
question
Okay, yeah, I've
is
seen it.
my question.
Sorry.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
Okay. So my question is how to deal with toddler tantrum in public without being asked, or an African mother. Imagine a toddler screaming down the supermarket for not having his or her way. How do we go about it?
Okay. Thank you very much. And that is a common occurrence in normally, children, they watch their territory, they watch the environment, and they look at your body language, and also they know what to expect, and they will see what they can get away with. When such a thing happen, it is always good to come down to their level. Don't shout on top of the child. If you want to squat, you can squat, come down. and be firm. And be firm. If you're going to tell the child, stop that now. You're not shouting. You are firm and you are keeping eye contact with the child. Then by the time you can calm the child down, if you want to get anything else in the shop, you can. But when you get to a safe space, it is very important that you see, because every child has what is very important to them. And you sit the child down, you might feel that it's just a child. It doesn't matter. It's just let him just get away with it. Then you feed them, because, and you are afraid that if you react, somebody might say something. Until you deal with that, just describe it, take the situation from the child and own it. And by the time you are firm, you are not shouting. Your body language, because first of all, you coming down, it means that you are not oppressive. You are not oppressive. That's why you are coming down to the level of the child. And having that engagement, that eye contact, you're telling the child calmly but what you want to say, and step away. Step away. The child might sit down on the floor, and you step away, and you are smiling. By the time you know it, when other parents, they will look and order, you might feel embarrassed in a minute. Before you know it will get up and follow you. Then you know that thing, because you didn't let that child have their way there, next time the child won't do it again. But if they have their way, they will do it over and it will get bigger. So that's why it's very, very that we should know the age appropriate. We should know how to, we display emotions a lot. We have to guide our emotions. And we have to another thing is surprise. There's what I call it shock absorber. There's the way you shock the surprise. Don't let it surprise you to the way that you will now, before you know, you have like, what are you doing? And people around you are wondering, oh my God, she's abusing that child, because you are dramatizing everything. The child have put on a mini drama and you have now escalated the drama. So you need to watch your body language. You need to watch your tone. You need to watch your response and how you handle that child, because whatever you model to the child is showing to the child this is the acceptable way of behavior. Because if that child is screaming and shouting and you go and you shout and you are wagging your hand to the child will think it is acceptable. And before you know, you are forming a character in them which is not acceptable. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. I hope that helped you. Thank you very much. I have another question that says, please, can you ask, okay, so what the law says about the age you can leave a child under 16 with responsibility of looking after their siblings? That's like babysitting. So when you tell you're 16 years old, okay.
Yeah, when your child is less than 16, they are not meant to be at home looking after their younger ones. Like I said, the law did not categorically say, oh, you don't. But if anyone should call and said, oh, these children, because they are still children, that they are left at home by themselves, you might still have some questioning to do. So when a child is less than 16, you shouldn't leave them at home with their younger ones over the night by themselves. And you should not leave them at home for a long time. So if we are saying we are talking about an hour to a year, but leaving them longer, because they are still considered children themselves. They shouldn't be taking that responsibility. And if you are reported either by neighbors or by any other person, they can take those child to, a safe place until you are able to explain why that is happening.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ma. The next person, somebody also said, how can we discipline and correct a child lovingly? Even though you said that before, like explaining to them the punishment. Please, can you just answer this person?
Okay, I talked about when you discipline a child, as in not being punitive. Punitive is that you are not trying to inflict pain on the child because you just want to punish them. And the way you can do this is for you to have a talk with them, discuss the behavior, have a conversation with them. The tone of your voice, your body language, again, matters here. Because you might mean well, you might mean what you're saying, but if your tone does not align with your motive, the child might read another meaning to it. So for
Mm.
you to be able to discuss the action, is not the child that you don't like. I don't like the fact that you are lying. Lying is not good. There are
Mm.
consequences for lying. And as a child of God, by the time you're talking to the child and you are discussing, why do you think this is happening? It's always good to ask them question. Why do you think it's happening? So by the time, for my children, the tone of your voice is very important. So they will tie that. So when someone can talk to them gently, they'll say, oh, that person is so nice, he's so loving, so caring. But when you are shouting, no matter what you're trying to portray to them, they don't see it as being nice. And they see the person is not being nice because that person is shouting. So
Mm.
children in that, most of them, they don't like shout. Don't shout. Discuss the problem. Discuss the behavior. And please, please, please don't let it be punitive. Thank you.
Thank you very much, man. Like I always say, there's a thin line between punishment and wickedness. Wickedness is you just, you beat up this child without explaining. The child is not the wicked person here. You deal with the habit, the behavior is what you are dealing with, and make sure you explain it to them.
Mm.
Thank you very much, man. And somebody say, how can I help my special child to be in a school after when we have done all our positive best?
Angel, we're gonna have to move this now to
Oh,
the parent panel.
okay.
Rukiat, we're gonna answer your question.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Angel. You've been a fantastic
Thank
moderator.
you,
But
ma'am, for
we've
having
got
me.
the panels in the house. They've been here since, I've kept them waiting for more than 15 minutes. I do apologize for all the speakers and the parent panel in the back end that we have kept waiting, but we are really sorry, really, really sorry. We're trying to work with time. Thank you so much, Mr. Deswat, for your insightful session. Thank you, Angel, for your contribution. So we're going to have to move this along.
You're
If your question
welcome.
has not been answered, we are going to answer it in the panel session. So let's get cracking. Thank you so much. I celebrate you.
Okay.
Okay, good evening, everyone. If we can turn our cameras on, that would be so, so amazing. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much, Coach Dele, Bra Constant, Bra Stefan, Coach Ronnie. I'm really sorry to have kept you waiting. Apologies for that, but let's get cracking. And we've got some questions already coming in. And so we're going to address it. But before we do, I would appreciate it if everyone could just take a few minutes to introduce themselves so we know the people that is in the house. So for those of you that are watching as the audience, this is the parent and the speakers session. So we've got myself, Mrs. Sakashuku, and Coach Dele. They are going to be answering the questions. Then we've got the parent panel, Bra Constant, Bra Stefan, sorry, and Coach Ronnie. They're going to be asking us questions. And if you have any questions as well, please do well to send it in as well so we can dive in. Thank you so much. Coach Dele, please, can you briefly introduce yourself? Can you hear me, Coach Dele?
Um, all right, thank you. Can you hear me, please?
We can hear you,
Yeah.
sir.
Yes, I can
Thank
hear
you.
you. Can you hear me, please?
Yeah, loud and clear.
All right. Okay, thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm not taking that for granted. My name is Dele Agbogun. I have my background in engineering and about 2 decades of experience in management and leadership consulting, where I've been able to help organizations build systems and enhance their viability. And this a work that I love so much with passion, and I'm also a counselor and marriage mentor to so many marriage counselors. And I do this alongside with my wife, and this had continually yield results for individuals and families, especially in the area of conflict resolution. And we've been able to help young couples, both young, medium, and old, and also singles in courtship and purpose in order to find purpose and fulfillment in their relationships. I try to combine the spiritual, pragmatic, experiential, and therapeutic approaches in dealing with relationship issues. But I deal with more of mentors and mentoring in that sense, actually. Through this, if you look at it, I'm into leadership and also into family life. The leadership side of me in consulting has actually helped organizations revamp their systems and structures, and the outcome positions such organizations in a more competitive edge. When I talk about organizations, it's inclusive of ministries and corporate organization. Currently, I live in the United Kingdom with my wife, and we are actually blessed with 3 amazing children. The one that will be 20 will be on Monday. We have a 17, and also we have a 12-year-old. My wife is a human resource and also a project management professional. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. So, Mr. Desra, we've already read your profile before. So we're not going to go through it again. Ronnie, please, can you briefly introduce yourself to the house as well? I know you're standing as parents, but please introduce yourself as well. Ronnie, can you hear me? Oh, she's been logged off. Okay. So, Brad Stephen, I'm going to come to you. Can you briefly introduce yourself to us so we can carry on?
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Stefan. I'm wearing the hat of a parent today. I've got 3 children, 15, 12, and let me get it right, 8. Right. Okay, well, 15, 13, and 8. Right. So I'll be asking questions about how to, again, be a good parent, especially for us living in the UK. And how I can actually implement our values, as Christians or other religions within our homes without affecting too much the children. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stefan. Constance, I'm going to come to you quickly.
Hello, everybody. I'm
Hi.
Constant. I live in England, in Bolton, and I'm part of a parent panel. And I've got 3 kids as well, 15, 12, and 9 years old.
I think 3 is consistent here.
He's just copying me. That's the thing.
Thank you very much. Okay, Coach Ronnie, can you briefly introduce yourself to us today?
Yeah, hi.
Can you hear me,
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Well,
I can hear
I
you
can
loud
hear
and clear.
you, but the network is really, for some reason, is really bad now. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ronke, and everybody calls me Coach Ronnie. I am John Maxwell certified coach, but today I am just a parent with 4 children. I have a
Ooh.
13. Yeah, I broke the three
Yes.
thing now. I have
Yeah.
a 13, a 9, 6, and 1. So there I am. So I will be asking questions that will help all of us today. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So if you've not watched the morning session, I will urge you to go and watch it because the youth were given their time today to speak their mind, and we had awesome speakers as well, and also about the digital world. So do well to catch up on that. So we've got a question here before I come to you, the parents panel. So what do you think can be done for parents, especially those living in the big cities like London, Birmingham, Manchester, to stop their children as young as 10, being in gang, groomed, knowing that the issues happen around school? Coach Dele, please, do you mind speaking to that?
Sorry, I didn't hear that very well.
So he said, how can, I don't know how I can project this. It's sent to the personal one.
No, you can go
What do
ahead.
you think can be done? Okay, so what you can be done?
I can read it.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Well, I'm technically I'm the one who asked that question. Living in England, we all know that is very difficult. So how can we stop? How can you? What can you done for parents, especially those who live in big cities like London, Manchester, Birmingham? you know, to stop the kids, the young children as young as 10 being in gangs,
All
knowing
right.
that usually this happen around schools.
All right. Thank you very much. One thing I'll say is I've not had the opportunity to watch all the videos, but I know I've listened. I listened briefly in the morning, but because I was engaged with other things, so I left. So, but the little I heard, I know they were so informative. Even this evening now, I've also seen a lot. There's a lot that is dependent on us as parents. For me, before we came to UK, we decided there are certain places in the United Kingdom that we are not going to rent accommodation because we know the connection between environment and how it play out in the life of our children. Environment is so strong, and some cases that we deal with, we see how environment program someone becomes the person's reality, and the person actually project that into the environment, in the society he or she lives. So in trying to deal with that, I would say, because now maybe the person might be working there and it's a bit tough how you can move away from there, but I know there's nowhere, anywhere we are in the United Kingdom, there will be good environment, there will be bad environment. Then it's worth looking at, and looking at where a more sane environment can be considered, and see how you can relocate and let them be in that environment where, because no matter what we do, when they come, we can't enslave them in the house. We can't enslave them in the house, all in the name that we don't want them to be contacting the environment. Whenever they come and they see what goes on, and what they see goes on, have a way of getting into them. And if they see that consistently over and over and over again, it can condition them, and it conditions them, it shapes their values, it shapes their own belief, it shapes their own system understanding, and that's exactly what they project out at the end of the day. Yeah.
All right, okay,
Thank you
thank
very
you.
much, Coach Dele. Thank you. You know, they said location, location, location. There's actually an advert on TV for that. It's very important that we prioritize the location. I know sometimes this location sometimes can be very expensive, but you have to choose between what you are going to do. Is it the location? Another thing we can do apart from what Coach Julie said, which is really, really good point, is your values. You need to be able to instill your family values. I'm not talking about just talking about it. I'm talking about living it according to what so many of the speakers have said. Your values, you need to incorporate it in your children in the sense that no matter where they go, they will be able to stand firm to their values without giving way. I know sometimes these children are pressurized. I know sometimes they are intimidated and all of that stuff. But another way that you can close that gap is through communication. If you have an open communication with your child, whenever they are being pressurized to go against their values and they know that that pressure is becoming too much, they will confide in you. And if they confide in you, you as the parent, you can then take the necessary actions that you need to take to be able to help your family. So there are so many things, so many factors to be considered: the location, your values, open communication with your children so that they are not scared. We spoke to the youth in the morning and they gave us reasons why they do not confide in their parents. So it would be good for us to catch up on that, to know the reason, because parents sometimes are too reactive. So we need to pay attention to that. And so I don't know if you have any you want to add to
Yeah,
this question.
thank you very much. Yes, I do. That is a very good question, and thank you so much, Coach Dele, for your response to that. I want to take it from another perspective. When we look at these cities and all that, there's issues about gang and all the things that are going on. How do parents begin to? I want One thing we should be aware of is that we can do all that we can to safeguard our children while they're still under our roof. But once they move out of the house and they go for their uni or they go for A levels and things like that, what happened? That is why what we have been discussing since morning is very, very important. Letting our children to discover who they are, and for them to have that confidence and everything they need to be able to survive in the world out there. Because the cities can have the problem of gangs and all that. But if you go to the extremely, in quotes, good areas that we talk about, they face another set of problem, which is called, there's a name for it. Is it whiteism or whatever it is called? That they come and you find out that only your child is the only African or black person in the class. And that comes with another set of problems. And if you speak with your children, they will tell you they feel comfortable. They want to be able to be friends with people that understand their values, that know where they're coming from. And then you begin to see the children organ environment like the church environment, because they can feel other children that they feel that, they have the same values with. So when we are picking this area, we should balance them. Coach Dele said something about sane environment. Let's learn how to balance them. Don't be too extreme to one side. Let it be balanced so that at least the children can have a form of normalcy. Because when they are kind of, it look as if they are caged in that area, you find they have problem. They'll be nervous. They'll not be able to own up or even deal with problem or with challenges when they go to uni. And they tend to either they come back or they go the other way, which can be very dangerous. So we should learn how to balance things and also take them out to experience the real world. It is a tough world out there, but let's teach them problem solving skills and be open and friends with our children. You cannot be their friend, but you can be friendly with them and you can have good communication though with them. Thank you.
Can I quickly chip in something, please?
Please.
Okay, thank you. I fully agree with all that have been said in terms of communication, in terms of values. I think I want to make it more practical now because, like Pastor, what's her name? I'm trying to Pastor.
So Lubade.
Olubode,
Labade.
yes,
Labade.
Olubode,
Yeah.
yes. She touched on vital areas, and I must commend that. But the important thing here is because we have a 20-year-old, we have a 17, 20 by Monday, 17 and 12, and communication is actually very key. And there's something that we're actually doing consistently to make sure that those values are actually instilled. The environment is just one of it, which we have rightly given. Thank you for giving the other perspective because it's not limited to only that environment. And now we have to even encourage them when we just got there. We live in Sheffield, and it's a quiet area. We don't want somewhere that is so busy. Now, preferences might be different from person to person, but whatever the preferences are, values is very, very key. Because at some point, you've rightly said, next year now, two of them will be heading to the university. So we cannot have total control over them. So who they become by the time they're leaving our roof is more important than trying to shield them from every form of, because they will be exposed there. So we're already exposing them out there, and we've done in such a way that we are their friends. If they have any concern, they have anything at all, up until they want to have a girlfriend, even the 12-year-old that is she having a crush on somebody, we've so developed a relationship whereby they discuss it with us first. And we don't show that you don't show that surprise at that level. We've made them feel that very comfortable at that level, whereby we're able to have that communication and we're able to create a safe haven for them. And I think that goes a long way. The environment within that prepared them for the wider environment that might not be good with the kind of values that we want them to exhibit. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Coach Dele. It's not a one size fits all. It's all about we exploring all the possibilities that we have. But Stephen, please, you have a question. The question on the screen, I'm just putting it there so we don't forget. So, Rikiat, we've not forgotten your question. But Steph, please, do you have a question?
I do. Thank you very much for your insights. One question is a following question on what Constant just mentioned. You talked about the environment, and the majority of parents struggle a lot, and they have to be frank, with money. And with that in mind, they do not always choose the environment they would like to live at. It's basically based on how much they've earned, that they've got in their pocket. So if they can rent a council house in an area where everybody knows it's not good, but that's the only area they can live by, they don't have many choices with regard to that. What is your advice on parents who struggle with money? What kind of environment they can create for themselves and protect their kids against gangs and other bad influences? Thank you.
Hey, who would like to speak to this? This one is like you're leaning forward, so I'll come to you first.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you, Constance, for that. Not Constance,
That's
Stefan.
that's
Okay.
that's
Yeah, okay.
Stefan.
Thank you very much for that question. And when we look at it, I feel that the home, first of all, is the inside, isn't it? The inside is the home, is not the building. So what happens inside is a determinant of how your child will respond to what happened outside. Okay. So now, if we as a parent will find ourselves in such environments, and that is what we can afford, the values we instill on those children matters. And also, I remember what one of the teens said in the afternoon. He said they will appreciate if their parents can help them with choosing, or when they make friends, to make friends that will help them in life, friends that will help their journey, because the friends you make now might determine where you end up.
Yeah.
So now, when we talk about the inside, like Coach Dele have rightly said, the children can come to them. They have that safe environment. So when things are chasing them outside, rather than running out, they are running in.
Yeah.
So no matter what is out there, them together can always conquer. And now you have to be intentional about everything you do. Intentional about your children going to hang out with people around in the area. Intentional about the activities they are doing and where they are doing those activities. Intentional about the school and who is their friends. Because these are the things that are because I've seen people that came out from council estate, and yet they are pace setters and they are making waves. And these are the things that we can do, because the fact that I am living in this council estate, does that mean that my child have to go to school in that council estate? No. No. As long as I can take a bus to where I'm going, I can get a school further. Because when you get a school, that will not determine the parent you're going to relate with, the children your children are going to relate with, and also that conversation, that open door with your children always, and again, where you worship and all those other things, you can get them a role model. You can get them, you can channel them towards people, mentors, people that you look up to, apart from you and that is their parents. So these are where you can direct them, you can channel them, you can redirect them. We talked about redirecting them, reinforcing them towards something that is positive, that will instill in them, that will drive them. There's something we call negative pattern in social work, circle of deprivation. And when you see that, you will see a parent that doesn't work, sitting down in front of the telly, drinking and smoking. And the child comes, and that is what they see. And they relive that life. And before you know it, 3 generations, no one goes to school, nobody does anything better. It's just going down the drain. So to make sure that that circle is broken, you have to be intentional about everything. So I know the environment factor is very important, but with intentionality, you can do something positive out of it, and your child can be different. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I add to that?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Thank you.
Now, if we have young children, I would say fantastic. There's a need for a family to have a family vision. These values we're talking about, because so I want us to be able to see it in a practical way.
Yeah.
Some of the sessions are wrong with some of the counselees. Sometimes it's pre, sometimes it's post, sometimes we deal with naughty issues. We always want to find out, do they have a family vision? Because embedded in that family vision, you are going to come up with your family values and you have your mission statements. In fact, we take it to the extent where we help people to develop a constitution for their family.
Mhm.
And you are now intentional on a frequent basis. You don't do the right thing now and you wait a week or 2 weeks after, then you now do it down. Because when we're talking about values, you need to know what you are standing for. Standing for
Mhm.
integrity, standing for discipline or hard work, standing for love for people, standing for empathy. These are things that we discuss. And at some point, myself and my wife were the one that always would talk. We do it like a devotion. I'm a faith person. I believe in God, and I'm even a pastor. So we look at it at that point, it's more of scriptures and we share devotion. But when they became older, my wife now said, we've fed these children long enough. Why not let us allow them to start feeding? Not that we said we are hungry for them to feed us spiritually, but that it's about developing the leader in them. And therefore we turn
Yes.
the devotion around. And when I say it's not going to be only spiritual things that we'll be talking about, we gave each of them three different sets of books. There's one on purpose, there's one on leadership, and there's one on life lessons. And each person, for each chapter, when we're having a devotion, each person will share. Now we've taken to the point where we say one of them should coordinate. As you coordinate today, why are we doing this? We're doing this to align with the values that we said we have set up. So this is a practical dimension to how we do it. So if I do not have enough resources, that inner space, we have control over it. But the outer space out of that four walls, we don't have control over it. But what we're able to do within is able to impart outside. We tell them, you've come to an environment where there are good and there are things that are not so good. I said, instead of you to be under pressure to be influenced negatively, why not you become the influencer? You be the catalyst at the end of the day. But we told them to balance it because they've had that value. So when they see something that is not right, they are very angry. See some of their classmates that are rude to lecturers or teachers, they are very angry. Say, hey, guy, calm, hold it down. If you can be angry, the perspective we're balancing for them now is you have to view it from the standpoint of compassion and not from the standpoint of judgment. That's another set of values that I've taught them. So we might be in that environment, but we have control over what goes on inside, just like she has said now. Then that will go a long way in helping. But this is not a one-day affair. It's something that has to be consistent. And I'm telling you, it is. Let me say it really. I don't want to spiritualize it. It is hard work. And it put responsibility of discipline, serious discipline on you. When you come back from work, you're tired, you tell yourself, I must squeeze it as part of the to-do list because it's a priority. I don't want to use my night season to be running around. I want to use my night season to be resting. And this is when to put in the work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Coach Dele. I'm a storyteller. I tell everybody I'm a storyteller. The question that Bra Stefan and Bra Constance ask, I'm a product of that question. My dad came from a humble background. He lived in a place where people were not necessarily the best behaved, but my dad was not like them. He wasn't like them. People that they will marry different wives after they finally got married. They have strings of women giving births and everything. My dad did not follow them. Why? His values. My dad did not work in his area. He worked far away from home when he became older. He embraced the values of those people that he saw and he modeled it. While his friends were, their lives were falling apart, his own was coming together. And today, I'm able to say, yes, I'm a proud daughter of my father. He did not come from the wealthiest of place. He did not come from a place where he was shielded and everything. If he wanted to get a wall, he would have gone. But he didn't. And today, we the children can say, yes, that paid off. So yes, you can be raised in a place that is deprived, but you can choose not to be deprived. You can be raised in a place that is rough, but you can choose to be disciplined. So it doesn't really matter. It's a matter of choice.
Yeah.
And how do we instill these choices to our children? Like Coach Dele said, it's not a journey you just start one day. It's a consistent thing that you carry on. You don't get tired. They said, make a while the sun shine, so that at the latter end you reap the reward. He said it's not hard, it's hard, it's hard, it's hard. I mean, we build our careers over and over again. If we want to get a promotion, we go for more courses, we go for more continuous educational development to get those promotions. Same thing with parenting.
Yeah.
You can't say what took you there will take you when they are not teenagers, when they are not young adults. It changes. We have to keep educating ourselves and don't give up on them. Love is one thing that can open any door. Love them unconditionally and keep speaking those words and leave it. Don't start saying, do as I say, not as I do. No, you are supposed to do as you have asked them to do. So with all of this coming together, I promise you, that child will turn out well. Will definitely turn out well because I've seen it worked. Thank you so much. I hope that helped to clarify some of those questions.
Yes. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you. Ronnie, please, Coach Ronnie, do you have any question for us? I've been waiting for your question.
Yeah, hi. I was thinking we could take the question on the screen.
Okay, no problem. Thank
Yeah,
you for
the
your
Rukaya's
patience.
question, then I'll come back with my question. That's fine.
Thank you so much for your patience. I'm going to direct this at Mrs. Adesua Hachuku. The question, I'm directing it to you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I don't know how old is this child, and
The child is, I think,
when
is 9 years old. I think it's 9 years old, and
okay,
he's got
9 years
cerebral palsy.
old. Okay, has the child be officially diagnosed? Is there a
Yes.
diagnosis on? Okay, if there is a diagnosis on, so then the school needs to create what they call EACP, Educational Health Care Plan, for that child. So the school will recommend uh, to the education department for them to put that together. And that child should be allocated a worker, a social worker, in which that social worker, the educationer, and the school, they all come together to put this plan in place. And the reason for putting that plan in place is for every professional that will be working with that child, we know exactly the need of the child and what needs to be done. If that child needs someone to assist in class, like a class assistant, then the school will recruit. They will make available that support. And the reason is that if there is further support that the family will need at home as well, this support will be provided. So I want this person to know that when you have the presence of a social worker involved in this, it doesn't mean it's negative. It is not negative. That social worker is there to help you to navigate from one point to another for you to achieve your desired outcome. For your child to go to school, and if the school that they are now is not meeting their need, or they don't have the facility to meet the need of that child, then that child can be placed in another school. I work with complex need. I work with learning disability. I'm a social worker. And the families that I work with, I know that when you go there, you are always looking for way to make things easy for them. You are putting in things like respite care for the parents so that they can have a break from their caring roles for the child to be looked after. You are putting in support, like if the parents need to go to work, when the child come back from school, is going to look after the child and things like that. You are putting in packages for them, for this child to be looked after. And this does not mean that you are failing in your parental roles or duty. It means that you need those assistants to live a daily life, to live a life so that we will avoid career breakdown. We don't want you to be overstretched. So please speak to the school. If the child have a formal diagnosis, bring the letter from the GP and they will make that recommendation. Speak to the school and let them put what they need to put in place. Speak to the school. Thank you.
Okay. There is more context. Thank you so much for that. What
Mm.
if the person had just relocated, so all the documents are from Africa, and it's taking longer than usual. It's almost 9 months or 7 or 8 months now, and there's the things are still not coming together, even though they have all the documentation from Africa, but things are still
No,
not coming together.
those documentation from Africa will not be enough. And the reason is that when they are putting in and they want a formal diagnosis, like when Dr. Abi was around, she talked about this. They need that because they want to be able to, because whatever we are doing is evidence-based practice. So I cannot work with somebody else's diagnosis. So when they refer a child for diagnosis with a specialist, a consultant, it does take time because there is a waiting list. So that needs to be done. And without that formal diagnosis, the school cannot work on that probability. And because this child is coming from outside, yeah, it might take a longer time. But at the moment, there are things that mom can put in place. She needs to know, let the school know that she's struggling, because if the child is not going to school, she cannot do any other thing. And again, because that can heighten our own emotions and make things difficult for the family. So don't hide your vulnerability, don't hide your challenges. Let them know what you're going through so that the necessary support can be put in place. And that can be a matter of urgency for this to be escalated. And when you are writing or asking for such thing, if you can document it, it will be better. Send an email rather than having a verbal talk. And that is because for you to have your own evidence as well, and for someone not to quote you wrongly. So please keep a trail of your email and try as much as possible to see what they can do. And your concern should be, you want your child to be in school. Can it be escalated? Can something be done? And they should be able to do something as soon as possible about that.
All right, thank you very much. I think Rukiat has covered most of the things that you need to do. Make sure you keep documentation. So whoever you're talking to, even if you talk to them verbally, make sure you send them an email to that effect to keep a paper trail. Very, very important. Thank you so much. Thank you, Coach Ronnie, for your patience. Please, I'll yield the mic to you now. What's your question, please?
Thank you very much. Thank you. That question, I'm very happy that the way Auntie Adesu dealt with it. Can you hear me?
Just loud
Yeah.
and clear.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. So my question will be that. Oh, sorry, my baby is here.
It's allowed. Yes, that.
My
Yes, we
question will
need
be
that
that.
voice.
Oh, thank you. We know that pair relationship can really impact our teenage behaviors, and particularly in the social interaction and in their decision making. What role do you think the family environment play in shaping our teenagers' behavior? Because I know we spoke a lot about it. There is a lot of influence outside, social media, on the streets. What role do you think the home can take to help their teenager? How do you think we can better be that parents for them before they go out there, or whilst I mean they are out there, whilst they are out there, what role do you think the home play?
Okay.
Hey, Kundele, please, can you take this one first?
Yeah, yeah. I think we cannot overemphasize vision casting. We cannot overemphasize it because embedded under the vision, like I'll repeat myself again, are those values. I want to make it as practical as possible, so that I'll be using I have my permission, our children's permission, because we respect their views and values also. So when we share like this, we are sharing from their permission. There's peer pressure. The older two have grown at least to a reasonable level of maturity where it's no longer an issue. And we try to even now balance things for them so that they don't become someone who want to, how would I put it now? You don't come across your peers as you hating them. It's not about their person. It's the value. It is the value that they express. So, like I said earlier on, that's why you'll be able to come from place of compassion and not from place of judgment. But the youngest is the one that is in that space now. And one thing we use in dealing with that, one way right from the primary school, because when we came in, she was in primary 6. Now she's moved on to year 2 now. I think it's called year 8 or so. Yes. So one thing we did was she comes and challenges things that we're not allowing her to do at home. And after all, my friends are doing this. Calmly and respectfully, and also in a constructive way without damaging her esteem. We try to tell her, okay, you know what? One out of so many other options we use, one option of it is, what is your name? She mentioned the name. What's your surname? She mentioned her surname. Okay, what's the person's name? What's the person's surname? We said we have different families, and different families have different templates with which they use in running their homes. I said, this is Agbogun's family. And in this our family, this is what we want to use in running. I said, everybody have their own freedom of choice to do whatever they have to do. But we speak from the point where we want to educate them to let them understand that there's an empowering side of certain values and there's also a disempowering side of certain values. So we try to paint the two pictures before them. We play scenarios for them, right? Even the older one, but now they've gotten it. But this very third one, we paint those two scenarios and we help them to see beyond the very act, but the consequences of those acts. And therefore, we'll now ask the question, which one would you rather choose? What are we trying to do? We've gotten into her world, validating what she's saying. We're helping her come out of her own personal space to see things beyond what she's looking at. At some point, it's about GSM, it's about phone. When we give that person, she has a good phone. Even phones she's using, sometimes it's even better than most of the ones that they're using there. But we chose not to give to her at that time. In primary school, we say all our mates are using it. We cannot give it to you because all your mates are using it because you walk 7 minutes to your school. What is the purpose of this thing? Then we tied everything back down to ensuring that, okay, those values and why did you even need this thing? When she understands the why, then it puts her in a state where she's no longer under undue pressure. Now she's grown. And now even our older two are the one now saying some things that we used to say to them as well then. And it looks as if they are not hearing. And that's another thing, the flip side I want to say. Parents, sometimes when you're talking to the children, they do as if they are not hearing you. I'm telling you, they do as if they are not hearing you, but they are hearing you. It's getting into their subconscious. And it's just a matter of time, a season in their life where the thing will now shift and they start acting out those values. So that's what we do. That's what we do that has helped us this far. So I felt if I'm using the example, maybe it can drive it home. I don't want to be repeating some points that maybe other great speakers have been saying since morning and even before we got to the session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Coach Dele. Two things stood out for me from what you said. I saw the way you stylishly show that you understand a frame of reference.
Mm.
And because you show that you understand a frame of reference, you knew that people
Yeah.
were listening.
Mm.
And then you then enable her with decision making by giving her the choice.
Yeah.
After you've painted the scenario,
Yeah.
you gave her back the choice that I'm not choosing for you, I'm not dictating for you, but these are
Mm.
the two things you make your choice.
Yeah.
So by then they will think that, oh, okay, daddy did not choose that, I chose it. Right?
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
is a very clever way of doing it.
Mm.
Coach Ronnie, I hope that that helps, strategy, the
No, that is
parenting
amazing.
strategy. Yeah. Okay.
That is
Thank you.
amazing. Thank you very
Welcome.
much, Coach Dele.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay. Um, Coach, I said Coach Constant, please, do you have any question? I know Miss Adesa wanted to add something, but I want Constance to bring it so we can cover as much as possible because we've got a few minutes left. So,
No,
Constance, do you have any question?
no, I don't have any more question. That was
Okay.
the question that
I do have one question.
Okay. Yes, please.
My question again, sorry to emphasize on the money aspect of it. I went to London a couple of years ago, and something that attracted my attention is how many students or many children after school were just running around McDonald's and fast foods areas just to spend some time with friends, just because the parents, again, good parents that are trying to make money to have the children, but they are not home. Maybe a single mother or maybe both parents busy working. But the thing is, if they stop working, they won't be able to take care of their family. So it's a necessity for them to go to work, especially in London, where it's quite expensive area to live. So what kind of advice would you give to this family who trying to work hard, but in the same time neglecting a bit the child, after school, for example, have to, spend some time with friends and so on. So trying to find, a way of balancing the two and trying to get some advice from you guys.
Thank you very much. I think I will let Mrs. Kanjuku speak on this first before I add any contribution.
Thank you very much for that question. Again, I'll say Coach Jelly mentioned a bit of this when he was talking. He said he would rather do the work now so that when he's old, he will have peace. And I believe that applies to every one of us. And for me, life is all about choice. Choice is very powerful.
Mm.
And the why I'm doing something is very powerful. Yeah, we are in one of the most expensive countries to live in the world. That was our choice, our decision to be here. And again, when we come here, we still have that choice to, decide where we want to live, the location. And location can be based on different things. For someone that is very spiritual, you tell you that, okay, you pray and you let God lead you. But even as you're praying, you're doing research. You want to find out the costing, of living in that environment. The costing, what would it cost you to live in London is not what you will spend to live in Newcastle or what you will spend to live in Bolton. It's different. So now, when you look at your training, your skill, your qualification, and you see what you can earn in different areas, I think these are determining factors when you want to look at the values you placed on your family. Because money will come and money will go. And it's sad to see a lot of professionals. When I mean professionals, you see people that are even consultants, both parents, crying now because their children that are now adults, they've turned the other way around and there's nothing they can do about it. They have the access to even influence money. They feel that those children needed those money. They felt that they were doing it for the children. But at the end of the day, what children express as love is time. So if you want to balance it, and we are looking at the pressure of money, yes, I want to work, I want to earn money, but again, is it at the expense of my family? How do I balance this? My husband can do a lot of things, but we have to come to an agreement as a family to make a decision, because we didn't want our children to be passed from one place to another, or for them to be by themselves, or for things. And that was the reason my husband have to work nights, and I am working 9 to 5. Why? Because he will be there to pick the children up from school, and he can spend time with them while he do that. It's not that he can't do other things. He's a businessman to the core. He can do other things, but we need to do that at their formative year, so that we'll be able to pour into them. I sacrificed some years staying at home to make sure that the children, what we have there, even if we have to eat very small, that very small is very valuable to us as a family, but because we are sharing it in love, and we know exactly what we were sowing. So we need to ask ourselves, what do you want as the end result? When we can answer that, that will form the basis of the choices and the decision we begin to make. Sometimes when money begins to be the driver, if money is a tool that needs to be used, if money begins to be the driver of your life, it will ruin you, because at the end of the day, it will tell you, go this way, go that way. And you just find that every person that you care for, you just don't know, you will recognize them again by the time you are back. So let us not forget that money is a tool, and we can make this, have a time of rest later on and enjoy these children if we can make our choices right. I just hope that, because you talked about London, a lot of people, I look at and ask, why are you living in this place? They say, oh, the euphoria, London. I'm like, okay, London, if there is nothing actually that you want to be there are no attachment, why can't you just move out of that area? Go to a place you can go, but people are so carried away, because again, some are doing it because they want to tell people at home, I'm living in London. So I'm not living in London. I'm living in England. I'm living in United Kingdom. But where I am, I have my peace. So I believe we are masters and architects of the outcome of that. We have control over it in as much as we want to make money. Thank you. And
Thank you.
remember, contentment is not found in having everything, but being satisfied with what you have. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's an excellent response. Let me just put a phrase. It's just a phrase so that I don't take too much of our time, because I talk a lot. If we make our life the purpose of our life, then we've shortchanged ourselves. That's why there was a popular quote I know many years back, that your life is too small to be the purpose of your life. And that will help you to prioritize things, because there are things way more than just money. Money will buy a lot of things, but money might not necessarily buy peace. Money might buy a lot of things, but money might not necessarily buy good turnout of children. So there's a whole lot to it. It all depends on how we see it, that determines what we put up as a priority. And at the end of the day, it goes a long way in helping us. Thank you. I love your response. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. I just feel like she just threw a few things in there because I've experienced it as well, where my husband was in a career and I was in a career that involved us putting the children in after school club and breakfast club and all of that stuff. And then it was getting to a stage where our daughter was going to go to secondary school. And you and I know that there is no after school club and breakfast club in secondary school. So we knew that, and I knew that there was a time coming we need to change our life. Else, it's not going to be funny. Because having worked in the educational system, I know how dicey it is. If you leave if you did not make the right decisions once your children are in secondary school. So yes, did we lose some income? Yes, we did. Was it funny? No, it wasn't. But at the end of the day, we had to make that painful decision. So I would say if you're in this situation, think about reskilling, think about retraining, think about how to reskill into a profession that will be flexible for you. I will also say if you want to do a transition into a different career altogether, please do well to save up and do transition. Thank God for the global world now with digital world. We can do training without being present there in the location. So commit some time to retrain, commit some time to reskill, whichever way you want to go for a career that will help you. I would have said business. Doing business in the UK can be very, very unpredictable. What that means is that your finances might not be consistent. So the first thing I would just say is reskill or retrain. But whatever you do, be ready to make that sacrifice, knowing that it's not forever. It's just for a matter of time. And it goes fast. Like my oldest now, she's in 11. That's the reason we took that decision. But now she's about to leave. And was it worth it? Yes. It was worth every single sacrifice that we made. Would I do it again? Yes, I would do it again. So please let not allow money be the decision makers in our home. Some sacrifices are needed. I counsel people that they live in a big house, they got the mortgage. Yeah. They pay the mortgage off. Yeah. They got the promotion at work. Yeah. But believe me, when a child become an addict, at the end of the day, maybe the child is now in rehabilitation home or the child pass. The house, the cars, the good clothes will become useless.
Yeah.
I've had people sat in front of me telling me, Sonia, I regret it. I have a big house. It's so lonely now. Because the child has become maybe an addict as a result of neglect. Or maybe the children are now going through depression. So please know your time and your seasons and make the right decisions that suit your seasons in life. The sacrifice will be worth it. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Can I end it with this? I want to throw it out
Yes.
there. If we have anybody who, because it's one thing to say, be this, be that, I've come to realize that. So I've learned further that we should make it as practical as possible. If we have someone that is in attendance now, who is in that space now, who is at a crossroad, but you want to upskill, you want to review your career options and how you can upskill, like she said. I'm putting it out there that at least, even if it is 2 people, I'm ready to take and just, it's a free bono, and that will be done. Is to assess your current state, assess what are your possible options, because they say it should be tied to what will give you fulfillment. It's not limited to only making money, but making money. Are you happy where you are? Then, if we have anybody like that, maybe you can send that message to her. Then we can take it up from there outside of this place.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. 2 people. Let me put my email address there. If you want to, yeah, so that
Apart
you don't have
from
any, if
you,
you want to.
apart from
No,
you.
it's not me. So that they can send me the email. No, so that they can send
Oh,
me the
okay.
email, their email
Okay.
address. That's what I mean. Don't worry.
Okay.
So please, that's my email address. If you want to grab that opportunity on how to sort yourself, your strength, your weakness, your opportunity, your threats, on how to move on, Coach Dele is ready to invest in 2 people. 2 people. So please, I will send the first 2 emails that I receive, the first 2 messages to him so that he can help that person out there. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate that. God bless you. Right. Okay. So, do we have any more questions? Ronnie, I'm going to come to you now.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you very much, everyone. This has been really, really amazing. So my question will go directly to Auntie Adesua and Mr. Dele can also say something on it. I just want to ask, how can adults recognize signs of mental health issues in teenagers? You know, and what strategies are effective in addressing these concerns? If you notice that your child is going through something, how can we really help them? How can we recognize it, first of all? Because sometimes we're so busy, we're not sure, are we blowing something out of proportion, or is there something that we really need to be looking at? And how can we help these teenagers? That would be my question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ronnie. I'll just quickly say that first and foremost, again, we're going to fall into pattern with everything we've heard today. It's good for us to observe our children. If we can observe them, if we can, get to know them, then we'll be able to recognize when something is not right. It might just be something as simple as they're not that open the way they used to be. They're shutting themselves away in their room. They're avoiding eye contact. They just, they don't want to engage. They are not interested at all. And those are little things that you shouldn't just ignore. And most time when we want to talk to them, rather than we talking and finding out, we are like coming from a way that it will make them shut down altogether. So when you begin to recognize or observe these signs, are they opening their window? Is their window staying closed? If your child was a child that used to be so meticulous in things, are they not bothered anymore? Those are little things. And then the other extensive signs that will be there, like things like self-harming and all that, you might find it difficult to notice that. But with little things, those are signs of depression. And most time we tend to pray away everything as African parents, or even when they come to you and you're like, no, that cannot be your portion in Jesus. No, you don't want to deal with it. We're in denial. We don't even want to have that conversation. So if you cannot do it, it is not weakness to seek help.
Yeah.
It is not weakness for you to seek help, to see who this child can open up to. And if you can get that, then from that, because mental health it has such a stigma that people feel that is all bad. Every one of us go through mental challenges. Depends on the level of work you are going through and all that. But the fact that you can regulate yourself, that is strength. But our children are still growing and they might not be able to regulate themselves. So know how to seek help, and seek help from the right sources, so that someone with speciality that can deal with, have a conversation with this child, unbiased conversation, non-judgmental, and be able to help the child from step one. I think to me, that is a step. When I did a bit of time with camps, and I saw children coming in with the response service, and children coming with presentation, that it was so sad that it looked as if these children were being recycled. Because then when I meet children coming in with suicide ideation, self-harm extensively, and they give them all sorts of support, and they go back and they are recycled in 2 weeks time. And that is because the parents refuse to accept what is going on, and this child is going over this thing over, and they are trying to say something. There is an underlying issue. The child might be going through bullying, might be going through challenges in school, might even be puberty, change in their body and things like that they cannot even handle. It might be anything at all. That's why it is important for you to navigate this child to whoever they can talk to in a non-judgmental environment, in unbiased way, and for you to continue to support this child. Open question, don't assume, communicate with the child. Very important. But you won't know this if you don't know your child and you are not open to knowing them. Thank you. Coach Dele might have something more to say. Yeah.
I was just gonna say,
The-
Coach Dele.
Thank you very much. interesting. Our first child, when we just came, was almost falling into depression. And we didn't quickly cite it because we're so close. And we just felt, okay, he loved to keep to himself. Some of the symptoms, we call indicators, could either be born out of feeling sad or down. It could be born out of being confused, thinking, or reduced ability to concentrate. It could be born out of excessive fears or worries or extreme feelings of guilt. It could be born out of extreme mood changes. These are indicators that you need to look out for. Mood changes of highs and lows. Then it can be withdrawal. You mentioned that withdrawal from friends and activities. You just see the person totally withdrawn. It could also be like a significant tiredness, low energy, and also maybe or problem sleeping. These were things that we didn't know on time, but eventually we got to discover later because she was about to write her WAEC, that's equivalent of GCSE, when we moved and we joined my wife 2020 in the United Kingdom. And when we came, these younger ones, the two younger ones, were able to just enter into the school. He had to stay. We called different council to know how. It was just more like rejection because it's grown beyond the compulsory age group. And he was already 17. He was going to turn to 18. We even said, okay, 18 can't meet you in Nigeria. We have to get it before you turn 18. We didn't know that alone, that in addition with the fact that he has built friends, he has built the network with friends back at home. When he came, it was like cutting him off. Initially, we knew they were going to miss their friends, but we never knew that it was going to be that bad. And I could clearly say that withdrawal was a major sign. And you just see him, we'll be sleeping, then you be hearing somebody walking around 1 a.m., 2 a.m. That's also an indication. It sounds funny now because we're grateful because we've gone past that because he's doing cybersecurity already in his year 3 in a college, and that's why by next year himself and the younger brother will be going to university. But this has signs. But having said that, please, the balance is the fact that somebody is not doing that does not necessarily mean the person is in that state. It could be circumstantial. So don't say because I mentioned this and this and this. You are don't stigmatize them, please. Like she said, let us seek professional help. There are professionals that are there. I'm not a professional in that regard, but there are professionals that are there who are unbiased, objective, like she has just rightly said, that can help in that instance and see that you are supporting and let your child feel so comfortable in assessing that help. Thank you.
How is that for you, Ronnie?
Oh, that is fantastic. That not everything on point. Thank you very much for your time, for your eloquence and patience in breaking them down as well. Thank you very much. I'm sure many parents are grateful for your time.
We do.
Thank you
Thank you.
very, very much. Thank you. Thank you so much, Coach Dele, for your wonderful practical share and experiences. Thank you so much, Ms. Adesuwa Kachuku. We appreciate and we love all the inputs that you've contributed. Thank you, Bra Constant, for spending your evening with us and standing on behalf of all the parents, and Bra Steph. Thank you so much. I know you've had a long day today as well. Thank you so much. And oh, Coach Ronnie, you've been a moderator today. You've been in the panel. There's one thing about this program. Everybody has made one sacrifice or the other today. Even the speakers that came before. I just want to say, my God will bless all of you. I really do appreciate all your inputs. And thank you. Thank you so much. And the audience, I hope we've shot past it about 15 minutes. I hope you've had a good time today. And for 2 people as well. So Coach Dele, 2 people have claimed it. We've got Rukiat and Akilabi. Please send me your email address. Send an email at me to my email address so that I can pass it on to Coach Dele. Now, having said that, we have a program that will be going, but I want to offer it to two people because we already have a set of people that will be doing this program. We've talked about it today about knowing your family values and everything, but you will not be able to know and establish those things without first and foremost assessing yourself as a family. It is so important for you to assess yourself and know where you are at as a family in order for you to forge ahead. So, for two families will be offering this assessment free of charge. For others that want to, you have to pay for it. So, for two family, the fastest fingers will grab it. You will get the assessment free of charge, and then you will get your reports as well. And also, you get a free, as a family together, to discuss about your results. So, if you know you are interested in this, just drop your name in the chat. I'm interested in it, and then you'll be able to join the group for this session. It's going to be so informative. So that come 2024, you've already planned everything with your children in December. And so you've already planned everything in December. You've assessed everything about your family, where you are at, and then you'll be able to move ahead because we want better family in the society. The truth is, oh, Gertrude is taking one more, and then the slot will be gone. The truth is, if we have better family with stronger ethos, the community, the world will be better off for it. So let's all remember that. Please don't just be the hearer alone, also be the doer of the word. You've come here today. These videos are going to be online. So come on the page and just feed on it and recap, get your point, and go back. Nobody's going to tax you for it. All you have to do is go on YouTube, look for Abia Sonia, and then you'll be able to tap as much as you can. There are so many videos, so many resources on this platform. Do well to subscribe, do well to share, do well to just take whatever it is and apply it in your life. We have things to do with our time, but if we don't take all of these things into action, then we would have wasted our time today. So please take action and build a solid family. So Gertrude has taken one. Who else is interested in it? Just the fastest finger will get it. I'm going to let the speakers and the parent panel go now. Thank you so much. Any final word from but the final word from Brastef, please.
My final words will be thank you. I know that we've said a lot of things. Oh, thank you, but I'd just like to again express my gratitude for all the advice that you're given, and may God bless you. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, Steph. Constance, final word, please.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. I'm really honored and privileged to have been here. Thank you very much for your wisdom. Thank you for your insight. Really, really appreciate all your input. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you. And Coach Ronnie, what's your final word?
Yeah, I'm just key. Thank you very much. I will echo them. Resources. Thank you for, thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And Coach Daly, please, what's your final word on this segment?
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'll say that first. And secondly, let us go out from here and apply. And know that it's a combination of scientifically proven information along with God that we need. Don't over spiritualize things to the detriment of useful information, and don't use information to the detriment of God. So none is unimportant. Both are important. When you marry the two together and you apply it in your everyday living, then there's no how, whatever the obstacle, that you cannot overcome. Thank you.
Because Sonia, you're muted.
So thank you very much. Logical, please, what's your final word on this segment?
Honestly, I just consider it a privilege. I'm grateful to God for the opportunity. And my prayer is that as we all have taken on board and we have learned so much today, that we apply, this wisdom to every area of our life as God enables us, because I know He has given every one of us graces to function and to supersede what He wants us to become. And finally, I just want to say happy birthday in advance, Coach Sonia. And I know that you do this in celebration of your birthday just to give out to people. And you have demonstrated this yearly. And I pray that the Lord will uphold you, strengthen you,
Amen.
and you will see more greater years and to be able to be a blessing. Is blessed to be a blessing. Thank you
Amen.
for being a blessing. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you so much. You have to drop me in it like that. Thank you very, very much. Bro Constance, my regards to the family. Thank you very much. Bro Steph, my regards to the family. Excuse
Okay.
me. Thank you very much. Coach Dele, my regards to the wife and the family. Thank you very, very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Okay, bye for now.
Bye.
Okay, bye. Okay, so where are the moderators? I don't know if anybody is still around. Where are the moderators? Where is Angel? Have you gone? I need the moderators back, please. Where is Angel? You need to wrap it up. Where are the moderators? The moderators, where are you? Ronnie, are you back? No, no, it's not Ronnie now. It's Angel. Where is Angel? Has she finished? Okay, I'll put Ronnie there, and Ronnie, I'm putting it back on stage. And I'm just going to put all of this, the thank you part. Well, I'll yield the mic to Coach Ronnie and Obi. And yes, if you can just, the mic is yours now. I'll just shut up.
Okay. Thank you. It's been an amazing day. It's been wonderful has come at us. It's not the
Ronnie,
acquisition.
your network is so
Yeah.
slurred. We can barely hear you. Your network is slurred.
Oh, okay. Is it better
No, no.
now? Let's
No,
go
try and reconnect. Try and
can.
reconnect. Okay, I'll yield the mic back to you, Obi.
Okay.
Oh, thank you
Yeah.
for all the birthday wishes. Thank you for all the birthday wishes.
Yes. Happy birthday in advance once again. Um. Wow. It's been a. I'm never short of words. But I am short of words. But it's actually been a very full day with lots of information, lots of things, lots of new skills learned as well as a lot of takeaways from here. Um, we thank all the speakers, but to all of our audience here, I believe we're still here. If you just want to, I don't know if you just want to put in your comments one thing out of everything from the morning sessions, from the afternoon sessions, one thing that you've actually learned learned from this conference that you actively be taking with you. If we just want to just drop a comment, I think I'll go with mine. The intentionality of parenting for me is actually key. Yeah, it may seem like yes, we all should know that, but if we listen to when I listen to the speaker this morning, is actually much more deeper than just the surface of the word. And yes, that's my takeaway. If we just want to drop our comments as regard that, you know, just before we exit. Okay, so we can see parenting is leadership. What other thing? It could be from the morning session. It could be from just even this evening. It could be from actually what's it called? They just concluded panel of parents and speakers. Basically, the discussions we've had. If there's one thing that stood out, um, oh, absolutely, our children wants to spend time with us. Yes. Another thing from me is actually knowing that we can actually learn from the kids themselves, basically like counter learning. I think Coach Jaylee also re-emphasized it again tonight. I think one of the teenagers actually mentioned that as well. um you know we've taught them, but sometimes they also want to know how our day is going. That way we can actually get their own opinion. We never can tell. Knowledge is not restricted to any particular age. Parenting must be intentional. Absolutely. Thank you very much. It's Look Away. Thank you. Correct with compassion, not judgment. Tonya Oji, thank you very, very much. Thank you for that. That's actually very, very key. I have fallen victim of that at some point in time. Yeah. So that's actually key. Is there any more? A lot of nuggets has been dropped today. A lot of nuggets. So if we just want to just drop, let's just keep this going. Let's just keep this flowing. It's also an avenue to actually just show that yes, not just have we been listening, but then it sticks with us, because whatever you repeat, whatever you go over and over again becomes part of you. I think it was Pastor Labode that mentioned that as well, that what you progressively become. That's another thing as well. So that's also the intentionality part of it. So yeah. Any other comments from anyone? Okay. And once again, we appreciate your time. We know time is fast. Yeah, the 4 portals of discipleship. Parenting is leadership. Leadership is discipleship. That's actually how I have it in my notes. So the 4 portals of discipleship, which is observation, explanation, experience, and revelation. That's absolutely fantastic. So um I know mentioned about the social media things as well. I think yeah, social media is the equivalent of television of our parents, well, of our time, we as parents. So it's also is, as it is today. Values are developed within the home, and that carries on with the children outside. Absolutely right. Thank you very much, Tonya. Thank you for Titiloque. Thank you, Titiloque, as well. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. That's absolutely good. And this actually just shows that we have a fantastic audience here. We appreciate your time. You could have been doing several things. You could have been there's a thousand and one things. Actually, they are meaningful. So we do not take your presence for granted. We appreciate the fact that one thing, or you've been able to take one or two nuggets out of here, and we believe you will apply it to yourselves. And ultimately, I'm a Christian as well, and ultimately, absolutely, the home is in the family and not the building. So once again, I know we'll be able to take this back with us, and by the time we regroup at the next conference, we would have been better parents, better in our parenting skills as well, and our children will benefit from us, and ultimately that stares on even into the community. So at this point in time, I'll just yield the mic to Coach Abia Sonia for us to give us the vote of thanks. Thank you, thank you, thank you so very much. Thanks for this opportunity as well. I do not. I'm sure on behalf of all the moderators, we do not take this for granted. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Thank you so, so much. Obi, I just want to say thank you for these are the planning team. Thank you so much, Angel, Dr. Yemisi, Coach Ronnie, Sister Obi, Sister Jemry. You'll be working tirelessly in the background. I can't see you to put you up. Dr. Ezine, Mr. Deso Akachuku, and my humble self. Thank you so, so much. For all the meetings, for all the suggestions, for all the planning. Thank you. The speakers. Coach Yeti, the Purpose Midwife, Pastor Olu Olabode, Coach Dele, Dr. Sam, Mr. Akashiku. You played multiple roles today. I really celebrate you. Thank you so, so much. And also, these are the sponsors, BAMIS, if you want CCTV, you want access control, and, things like that. Just visit their website, Academics Educational Services. They give you the best if you want to get the best services for relocation as a student and all other applications you visit ASAP Consultancy for coaching, counseling, and also for mentorship. These are the numbers that you can call. And let me see, I've thanked everybody. And then the youths, oh, the youths in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know yourself. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Thank you. And also, again, the team, you see, I love you. I did you guys twice. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And for those that got the places for Coach Dele and for my, just reach out in the email as well. Salby, thank you. And I will see you next year. Watch out. If you've not subscribed, please subscribe. And also, we'll be doing webinars, but that's going to be next year. Now, for the year, I think is over and out. Thank you all so, so much. Thank you. So, I will say bye for now. What do you think, Sister Obi?
It's
What
it's
do
like
you
the day should not
what do you
actually end, but then yeah. Thank you everyone. We're grateful. Lots to go and practicalize on. And I wish everyone could just unmute and just sing happy birthday to you on behalf of everyone. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Coach Abies. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
All
And
right.
bye for now.
All
Bye.
right. Thank you. Bye.
Seriously.